All right, it is 6:06, the meeting, regular meeting for January 19th. We have everyone present, correct?
Except for Mr. Beaver.
Except for who?
Mr. Beaver.
Except for, yeah, well, he's not on the commission also. We're not going to vote on the minutes of our last meeting because we don't have the final draft yet, so we'll have to vote on two sets of minutes next month. And next month we will also hold elections for chairman, vice chairman. That'll be the first, that'll be our next meeting as well. And that's about it. So we call the order, audience of citizens. Anyone here to speak for audience of citizens? Yes, sir. Name and address, please, sir.
Yeah, William Richards, 811 Orchard Road,
Thank you.
Kensington.
Thank you.
Yeah, you had mentioned reappointments.
Correct. I know that there were some applications that were put in, and the council, the way reappointments work is that if there are more applicants than there are openings, then what they do is they have to be nominated. Someone has to be nominated. If there are no nominations, then the council just votes everybody who is currently in. So nobody nominated anyone that had an application in outside of a current.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's-
so someone has to be present at the
You
meeting.
don't have to be present.
Okay.
A council member has to
A
nominate
council
an
member,
applicant.
gotcha.
Oh,
Gotcha.
Okay.
That's
So,
Council member?
Yeah.
Oh,
correct. So in other words, if Counselor Rosso wanted somebody in, then he would bring a nomination to the council at the meeting, and they would vote on it. It would be a vote. None of the counselors brought a nomination in, so they all voted the current ones. I know you had one in,
Oh, yeah, last year too.
yeah, so,
if there's
all I can say is this time, all I can say is
Now we know.
talk to the council members. I mean, if you're a Democrat, talk to your Democratic parties that are on the council. If you're a Republican, you can talk to the Republicans. Last meeting, they did mention that they were concerned about having representation from all the different groups. If you go back to the last meeting, I think it was February 3rd, they were talking about that, and so, but nothing transpired. So there you go.
So Peter, just a quick question on that. Is there also a requirement that it be like split along political lines or anything like
Yes.
that?
There are political requirements, yes. I believe Jim and I, we're the only two independents.
Independence.
No, I am as well.
Oh, you're an independent?
Well, I'm a registered unaffiliated.
Oh,
What are you?
okay. Republican.
Is it,
So, yes,
to follow up on that question, why does it have to be political for
well, that's a great question. Who knows? That's a great question. Not for us to,
That's every
it's not for us to answer, but every commission is like that.
Every commission?
Yeah, I thought I was asked that when I joined Parks and Rec. I thought it was a strange request.
Yeah.
Parks and Rec.
The only one that's not political right now is Board of Ed, right? But they're
That's voted on.
looking to change that. That's voted on.
Yeah,
So,
Finance.
well, the commission members are voted on too.
Finances.
Well, actually, the
By the
Board of Ed
council.
members are by the council, but this is, I'm talking about the general public.
Oh, correct, yes.
So if somebody were to decide not to run,
Correct.
and there was an opening, would
They would look at the applications.
and
And
would
then-
they automatically, or do they still
Well,
have to be nominated?
if there was one application outstanding and one commissioner not rejoining, saying, I don't wanna,
Right,
then that applicant would most likely.
okay, they don't have to go through the, having somebody on the council
Oh, yeah,
nominate
yes,
them?
yep, they still have to get nominated, yep.
They would leave an open seat. Well, they would leave an open seat. They would, because there's some commissions that do still have that open seat, so.
And Peter,
Yes, Seth?
If that individual was Democratic or Republican, it would have to be replaced by a Republican or Democrat.
Correct.
That's correct.
That's correct.
Yep.
Wow,
That is correct.
what are you, Bill?
Republican.
When
There
there's,
It did say, yeah, reading the rules, yeah, it has to be no more than what, four of one particular party.
Something like that, yeah.
Wow.
on the agenda that I read, it said it tells you if it has to be a D or R or independent.
Correct.
But in our cases for the three, it could have been replaced by either or, because it said D or R.
Okay.
Oh,
So,
okay.
interesting.
So, Bill, can I explain it?
Well,
Yeah,
we got
that
something,
explains it, I didn't know that
we
had
can
happened.
all, but you know what, we can all join the senior men's club, and then the seniors are represented too. Cause we're all old enough.
We're certainly close enough.
Bill,
There you go.
Bill, I think your input is valuable, and even though you're not a formal member of the commission, to show up at meetings like this is certainly more than welcome. We value your opinion
Okay,
and your presence, so
Appreciate
you just
that,
keep coming, okay?
Oh, yeah, I learned a lot while I'm here, that's for sure.
It's a different
Well,
view.
then, thank you for applying. Okay, anything else from audience or citizens? Hearing none, I'm gonna close that. Approval of minutes, we'll do next meeting. Old business. Anyone have anything to add or say?
What else,
Or contribute.
You can talk about the old business, you can talk about, right?
Sure.
So that's on, is that on there? I don't have that in front of me, the current agenda.
There's the sand traps, a dump truck and
Yeah.
a Kubota.
The tee box, the tee and the fairway.
Bridge work.
Yeah, okay, so you got, okay.
Saul, what's the status on the dump truck and the Kubota?
So dump truck Kubota, we're working with Jim Simons from facilities. He has to go in front of council and get approval, and then from there,
Did they find one?
not yet.
Yeah.
But the first step is for him to get approval from the council, and then he's gonna start looking. I know Jerry's been forwarding him some options, and but that's where we are.
They've been approved
Well,
already.
he tells us, Jim Simon himself tells me that he has to go in front of council
With a quote.
With a quote maybe.
for approval to use the funds.
Oh, wait a minute.
To get it done.
That's interesting.
That's,
Yeah, I would, Mr. Paradis is on finance and
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he would have the correct answer to that. I would reach out to him.
You know, Jim, I think he's gonna plan on going to the council this upcoming meeting.
Okay.
So I'm gonna give him a chance to do that
Yeah,
before
yeah.
we put too much pressure on him.
Yeah,
I still think
Unless-
we're online to getting it by spring.
Unless this is just a formality,
Yeah, that's what I'm
unless
thinking.
it's just a formality, because I know that the funds were approved.
The funds are there. Yeah, it's there for 3 years. So even if we don't use it now, it's still there. So,
Okay,
but it's important for Jerry to get it. So
anything else to add under old
And-
business?
And that, the dump truck that they're buying, is this a small, not a 9-ton or anything
I don't know the logistics of it, but I know it's big enough for
for the
for them to
golf course?
do work without going back and forth. Too
payload
much.
and,
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So like for instance, when they're doing the T on 16, right now they keep going back and forth.
With the
With
payload.
it, with the dump truck, maybe they don't have to do all that back and forth.
And that makes a lot of sense. I mean, but the way I look at it too, I mean, you look at the town, okay? The town have dump trucks, okay? Now, it's the town of Berlin. And now, shouldn't they come together with the golf course and we can borrow their truck to make that dump, 2 dumps that will full to make that tee box?
I mean, you're assuming they're not using it.
No, I'm assuming, why can't we go to the town instead of, so even if we don't wanna buy the dump truck, why can't we say to the town, can we borrow your dump truck for the day to dump some loads there?
We can, like for instance, when we get our range balls that we're purchasing, we're gonna borrow a truck from them to get.
You know what, Saul, what's going on? There's this strange fence that's around Timberland. We don't get to use town equipment and, cause like there's certain things like going around the ponds that we can use, you know, the.
Oh, we finish now.
Well,
Their equipment, for some reason, Jerry has been telling us for years, it's, you know, unbreakable, can't get that stuff in here. And we've been talking about it, it's like, you know what, this is a town facility.
Right.
Somebody needs to go up in front of, you know, council and bring this up and, or town maintenance and go, hey, we're all on the same team here. If we have the Kubota, we'll lend it out. I don't have, you know,
Right.
but there's
Team
equipment that we can't get our hands on, even for a short afternoon.
So it's interesting that this discussion is going on, because at the last Parks and Rec meeting,
Is this the same thing?
it was the exact opposite discussion. And there were comments made that you're not supporting Timberland Golf Course, and Steve Wood, who's the director of Parks and Rec equipment, you know, he basically put on the table, listen, when we get a request from a different, I'll say a different functional group within the town that wants to borrow our equipment, if we're not using it,
Let them have it.
Well, that's the problem with the flail. The flail mower is used 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, and when it does become available, is in the fall, and if the ground is soft, that is one very heavy piece of equipment. So it could do more harm than good. That's what I was told.
Well, I don't know,
The flail mower, there's only one in town.
I know, but that's the way, because see, I used to run one. Okay, I used to run one when I worked for the state. It's not about what's soft. You know, where they're gonna be cutting at, it's not a big deal. I mean, you're going around the pond. Okay, so you take a nice day out, you go out there and you cut around it, bingo, and you're gone. Okay, you're not gonna pick a rainy day. So just say like tomorrow, we need it. Or you go up there, spend the day up there, cut it, tomorrow you go somewhere else. It's not a big deal. It's not that you're taking from the town.
If it's not available, it's not available. If it's available, the flail mower has come to Timberland in the past.
It was just up there this fall. Because they
On
cut
the
that-
hill, behind
They cut the bank of that hill, they cut the bank of that hill, but you could spend more time with it, you could have more time with it there, because it's not really on the road.
It's always on the road.
Well, I don't see it in town.
I do a lot.
It is, I just can't believe that they can't break away for an
I don't
afternoon to go around.
I don't disagree with that.
Right, one day, that's all you got.
I don't disagree with that either. I'm just telling you what I'm telling you.
I want to understand for a second though. Joe, what are you telling us? Are we not, is Timberland not asking the right people to borrow the?
I think everything you know right now, you have to give me a chance to research.
Right,
Okay, well, and this
Is
is
that
the
fair?
reason why I brought it up.
right.
Yeah, you
Okay.
give me a chance to put a request in, see what happens. Everything you know prior to me, I can't control, right?
But you still,
Right
you still
now,
need to know this up front.
Yes,
Where we're coming from.
but
Okay.
you have to understand, you have to give me a chance to do it,
Absolutely.
and then let's see what happens.
So let me ask you just a question, and as far as logistics go, if you were to have a dump truck, right, whatever, 4-ton, whatever, whatever you're looking at. How long would you need that to just put the dirt on the 6T lines? Using
That was just an
special
example,
measure.
right?
No, listen, you brought it up, not me.
I did.
So.
The use of the dump truck, how much we're gonna use it?
Yeah, well, if you needed just to move that dirt, to build that T, how long would you need that dump truck for?
You know, it's a great question, Mr. Norris.
This is not necessarily
You
a
know,
question either, so this is
No,
just.
it's not, but I also don't know what the right answer
Rough,
is,
just
right?
rough, a half a day at the most? Just to
If
move the,
we
just to
borrow a
move,
dump
just to
truck,
borrow
you
a
mean?
dump truck to move the dirt.
Yeah, I don't think it's really how we're using it. It's how they're using it,
Like,
right?
no, that's not what I'm asking, it's.
How long would we have to borrow it?
Yes, sir, that's exactly that's what I'm
What do you
asking.
want me to say, a day?
At the most, right?
You tell me
Just
what
rough.
you want me to say.
No, I'm not, I don't know what to tell you either, I just don't know,
If you ask me, it's probably gonna take a day or two.
to move that much dirt.
How many cubic
It's probably
yards?
gonna take a
Paul?
day.
No, I would say, if I had to take a guess at it, I would
And
say
you gotta remember,
two
we're at
dumps.
skeleton crew right
two
now.
dumps,
No, I understand.
It's not like we have all our work.
If you look,
Yeah,
if you
no,
do
yeah.
3, then that's more
I
than.
think we're just
Yeah, okay.
spending a lot of time on this because we're getting a dump truck in case, in case.
So, but maybe we may not have to buy the dump truck, we can buy something else.
Well,
I think it's.
I also,
You know what I'm saying?
I also researched that option, but
Right.
I'm not gonna go there right now.
That's.
Yeah, it's, the dump truck in Kubota is important to the maintenance crew. So for now, that's what we're gonna use it for, and we're gonna be patient until we get it.
How many times do you see Billy bringing that payloader back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, all year?
I'll answer the question about, he doesn't have a full bucket of sand in there either, or dirt in there. And I
He's
watched,
got a full bucket of
No.
cut limbs,
no, it's not a full
of
bucket.
shrubbery.
It's not a full bucket, I'm just being straight up and being honest about it, it's not a full bucket.
Well, whatever, I mean,
I think you gotta
you
make-
you
you
see
gotta
that
give,
thing, you
Mike
see that
Hennig a
thing going
benefit of
back and
the
forth
doubt.
100 times a week.
No one's not doing their, pulling their end, right?
And listen,
So,
Okay.
And he does it all winter long too.
That's right.
There's
You
times
gotta
I
give
walk
Mike
the
Hennig
course in the
benefit.
winter and Bill's back and forth with the backhoe and pulling stumps and cutting path,
Are we,
Yes,
We're done with the dump
truck, we're done.
great, thank you. Anything else on old business?
Yeah, I want to bring up the dump truck.
Oh, we got a comedian tonight.
We're getting our final bid for the bridge work next week. And so we can move forward from there. In regards to the sand traps, Jerry and I were at a seminar last week, and we met a second company that also does capillary concrete. So they're coming tomorrow to give us a bid, see if we could fit it in this year, if not, obviously next year.
Are you gonna start with part threes or something like that? Is that the
Yeah,
plan?
I mean,
See how
that's
it
the
works out?
plan. Well, we're gonna really rely on this new guy to, kind of show us what he thinks. But in Jerry's eyes, my eyes, it's the most used bunkers, which would probably be like part threes. So
So did they have that, where you came from an Ellington too, they kept the concrete on the bottom too?
they're doing it as we speak.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that where the trend is going?
I think so. That was one of the topics that at the seminar we went to. It was a golf course superintendent of Connecticut's seminar. And, capillary concrete, it helps with a few things, maintenance, labor, longevity.
I was just gonna ask you, what is the longevity on these new sand traps?
Well,
Are we good for 20 or 30 years?
the longevity is longer because, if you have proper drainage like capillary concrete, the sand that you put in doesn't
It's-
wash out.
Okay.
It tends to stay in the bunker more. If you have a big rainstorm and you don't have proper drainage, it washes out. That's why you might see liners popping out.
Yeah.
So-
Oh, yeah.
Tumblebrook just did their bunkers, I don't know if they did capillary.
You could do billy
I
bunkers,
think they did stone.
but
Sand.
ultimately you need proper drainage or else it washes out and you gotta refill it and you gotta put more labor into it, so. I think that's what's been happening at Timberland.
Thank you, Saul. All right, on to new business. We have a request from Mark for a USGA senior qualifier. He's looking to waive fees, Saul?
I think that is exactly what he is requesting. Waive fees for that day,
Right.
but they still pay for cards.
Right.
We'll have a chance to get practice rounds at full price, which usually in these tournaments you get a good bunch of them practicing or using that option. Ultimately it's nice. It keeps our relationship with the CSGA nice, and we get some exposure. What that means to us, when we're capped out with rounds, it still means a little, right? So
We've always supported these.
yeah.
Make a nomination.
I'll make a motion.
Yeah, second it.
So Jim Norton motioned, Joe Fulcini seconded. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, unanimous,
Yes,
thank you. Motion moved. Okay, everybody get a chance to look at all the golf schedules? Are there any questions, concerns? Okay. Make a motion,
Make a motion to approve? golf schedules as presented.
Seconded by Jim Green. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Are you eyeing, Seb, or are you opposing? Okay, I got it, okay, that's unanimous. New policies. What's that one, Saul?
So, you know, with a couple of new things coming about, like the point of sale system or having rangers on the course, I think it's important to talk about some new policies. The first one, Mark and I want to talk about is our rain check policy, landing policy. I think in years past, we gave a physical paper, you know, so with our new POS system, we could just put that on their account and have it more of a electronic, you know, so once we log into their account, it shows us, you know, Mr. Nolan, you got nine hole credit or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Instead of giving a physical paper where,
That's right.
you know, you can make copies or.
Where's it back up to? You get back, are you backing up daily? I mean, how you know?
What do you mean by it?
The backup, right?
Cloud.
Is it cloud?
Yeah, it's internet based, so it's cloud based.
That makes sense.
Saul, have you talked about the policy of issuing the rain check though? I mean, we kinda hand them out
Yeah, I
like,
know what Mark
you know, like
said.
napkins.
4 holes is 9 holes, and 13 holes is 18. Right? So if you're playing less than those amounts, you get the respective amounts. In my opinion, in my experience in golf, it's pretty you know, that's
Is that the
about
norm?
where it is.
Okay.
4 and 13 or 12, you know, but when you give it, right? I mean, the course gotta close. You know, it's not like, oh, it's raining, I don't wanna play.
Well, that's why I'm asking.
Oh, is that what, oh, okay.
That's why I'm asking,
Okay.
because it starts to rain, somebody went out, they played, they you know, they're making the turn or
Yeah.
whatever, oh, it's raining, you know, can I get a rain
I
check for
mean,
9, you know?
you know, I in my opinion, we gotta close the course. You know, if it's just raining a little and, you know, a group doesn't wanna play, you know, Mr. Green can't get wet, it's not gonna work.
Then, my suggestion is we create a board policy on that
And stick to it.
and stick to
Yeah.
it.
If everyone's
Whatever it
still right
is.
with the whole allotments, like
Yeah,
4
yeah,
and
that's-
13,
That's fine.
That makes sense.
right, and
And I take it there's generally accepted criteria that says, all right, it's pouring out there.
well, like I said, you know, your greens are over flooding, we don't want anyone on those greens anyway, right?
Right.
Or your bunkers are over flooding, you know, you don't want people
Thunderstorms
there.
or something like that?
Thunderstorm is one thing, because we're bringing them in,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
If we feel like it's gonna clear in 30 minutes, well, you can still play,
Yep.
right? But if it's closing for the day,
Okay.
then it's one thing.
We have people coming in while it's raining to go out and play, they go out and play and then they say, you know what, forget this, let's
Yeah,
do
too
this
wet,
one rain
right?
check.
Well, if our course is still open, you know, it was up to them to start,
That's right.
you know,
Exactly my
so,
point.
Okay.
you know.
Okay, good.
But we gotta be stern, right? We can't be like wishy-washy about it,
Right.
so. As long as we have a policy that's on paper, no one could argue about it.
Correct.
Exactly.
Another one that I think we need is a slow pay policy. You know, if I'm gonna have rangers out there, you know, they need my support, and my support is a policy. You know, in my experience, slow play policy can be 1 strike, 2 strike, 3 strike. You know, 1 strike is verbal, you know, and that happens in the front 9. You know, and verbal meaning, hey, Mr. Green, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna pick up.
Okay.
Hey, Mr. Green,
No, it should be Joe.
Is it with Joe?
Yeah.
I didn't even say that, but now I forgot that. Yeah, that's perfect.
You know, first strike is always verbal. And how do you look at slow play? Well, it's time or position, right? Obviously, if you're in a shotgun, everyone's starting at the same time. That's position. If it's all tee times and everyone's starting on their correct tee times, well, that's time. You know, obviously you can see a gap as well, but you know, we're gonna say you're slow because of time.
Time.
You know, and that will be the backbone of it. That's how you can identify slow play. Our new GPS system, I think, will also give us a chance to identify slow play faster, because we'll have an app that shows each cart and their time on the course.
Now, I have a question. It'll show the carts, but let's say I was in a cart and it looked like I was slow, but there were 4 walkers in front of me. How are they gonna handle that?
that's interesting.
To me,
Or slow walk.
walking and carts, that's around the same time.
They'll be able to see the carts in front of the
Yeah,
walkers and if they see a
And
big
then it doesn't
disparity,
take space.
the ranger will tell them what's going
Right,
on there.
and it's not
Right.
like, hey, there's a gap there, we don't notice the walkers, we're gonna go right at you. We have to evaluate the situation first, right, before we talk to anyone. You always you evaluate the situation, you make a best judgment, and we go from there, right? But it's all about position and time. So strike one is verbal. Strike two, that's where I need some opinions, right? Strike two, in my experience, it's not written, but you start moving groups. You start, maybe
Pick
How
up and
slow
go to
is
the next
slow?
stage.
Something like that.
Yeah, but how slow is slow?
I
And
think
sometimes it happens where you have, it happens, things
Yeah,
happen.
sure.
A couple people lose the ball, you
Lose
try to
the
look on the
ball.
ball, right,
Yeah.
and try to, right?
well, that's strike one. You give them a chance. You
And
lose
you
the
make
golf
it up.
balls. You give them a chance to
Right.
Got it, okay.
Cause it's
give
only a
them a couple
golf,
holes.
it's only a golf.
No, I get, it's a
Or-
stroke. So I thought it was a ball, it's a stroke.
The things I've heard and how slow play comes in Timberland is, it's more like what you're doing on the greens. It's not the ability of the golfer. It's what they're doing, between shots, reading a putt too long, during club championship, talking. So,
Ready
it's,
golf, man,
it's ready golf,
Right.
but in a safe way, right? We don't want you to hit when people are in front of you. But everyone gets 4 hours, 20 minutes, what are we?
420.
So that's
Is that what it is?
right? So that's 2, 10, and 9, right? So my starter is going to be looking at 9-hole tee times as well, right? So if he sees a group turn at 220, Ranger, check this out for a couple holes.
So we're having rangers.
That's in my budget, yes. Already hired 2.
Good.
Really?
Who are they, do you know? Can you
Uh,
say?
I can say one, Lindsey Hansen. So
Really?
Yeah,
I saw that.
I think he'd make a good one, actually.
yeah.
Well, he's certainly
So
personable.
what
I
would-
think
Yeah.
Scott,
what would,
yeah, you know that.
I know
The
Lizzie well.
second one be.
second warning is you threaten to move them.
Okay.
So it's another kind of verbal. The third one's you move 'em.
What do you mean moving? Just go ahead.
Someone goes through them or they skip a hole.
Got it.
Okay.
And if we have a chance of getting back in that hole at the end of the day, we'll do it. But most of the times you don't.
But if someone says, okay, you can go through us, well, I mean, would that be a problem?
Well, sometimes it is, Mr. Green, because
Okay,
you're having a group wait, right? But that group's already holding up a couple groups.
Okay.
Behind it, it's a trickle down effect.
Trickle down effect.
Trickle,
So
yeah,
in my
okay.
opinion, the best thing to do is move them a hole, or sometimes even where the gap to fill the gap. I don't see a lot of this in normal play. I see it a lot in league play and club championships and tournaments. But we're gonna treat everyone the same, right? It's not gonna
That's what
be
it's all about.
it's not gonna be a name. It's gonna be a tee time. That's how we're gonna identify everyone.
It's an education process.
Sure, you gotta retrain everyone.
Yeah. Right.
Another new policy that I'm proposing is late afternoon play, right? Late afternoon play. Sometimes it's tough because one, maybe our golf shop is closed, or so people can just go to the tee and play. Two, if that happens, you don't get payment. So
I mean, at the closing.
yes, sir.
Okay.
So the policy I'd like to do is after a certain time in the afternoon, your reservations have to be online and you have to pay online.
Love it. Oh, that's interesting. I love it.
Because our new point of sale, obviously,
Well, how are you gonna monitor that then?
sorry.
How are you gonna monitor
Well, we're
that?
still gonna have a ranger in late afternoon, right? We're gonna have a car
No,
staff
no,
in late afternoon.
that's that's good.
We may have I don't think we'll have a starter that late. That's why, we'd like everyone to be on
What's late? Define late.
6 p.m.
Okay.
and after. After the golf shop.
No, that's.
Because if our golf shop attendant's there,
Because it's like
they can
a.
handle
right,
it.
because a lot of people do,
Yeah, they hang around.
right,
Yeah.
a lot of people do come over there after the course closed, and they figure, I can go play golf,
Yeah,
and they're playing for free.
right,
So that's gotta get stopped,
right. And
and it's only makes
I
sense.
don't want to put pressure on our staff to to be a policeman or
Yeah.
a police person, when someone doesn't check in or pay.
Good.
You know, we're gonna handle that through online and make sure everyone is having a tea time and paying for their tea times. It also helps lessen the labor, so.
So will the online application produce a receipt, so if a ranger comes to that after 6 person says, do you have your receipt? He'll have it?
Well, it'll be online anyway,
It's
right?
gonna be online, you have to show
You
it.
got the iPad, right?
on your phone.
Correct, every member, every branch of our staff will have some sort of app, either a tablet or their phone. Outside service, the card staff will have a tablet, so they're, right away, they'll get a verification, like, oh, they've checked in, they've paid. Cool, here's your card, or here's your tea time, right, so, but the staff's gotta get
I
trained
got
on
a
that.
question.
Hold on, Sebi, go ahead.
Yeah, and so how are you gonna handle that when you have members that have a season pass? How are they gonna pay online if they have a season pass? You're gonna collect the $1 or $2 from them, or is that what you're gonna do, or?
It's a good question, Seb. I think this is a preliminary talk. I haven't gotten my training for this new system yet, but from my understanding, when let's say a season pass member logs in, it's going to be recognized that he's a season pass member.
Okay.
So,
So you just collect CIPs on,
and that's fine, that's great, you said, I don't know anything about this app that you're looking at, right? I don't know, and I don't know the security ramifications of this thing, right?
Yeah.
But you're already saying you're gonna put that, and you're just off the cuff, but if it's not on the pad, it's on somebody's personal iPhone or personal phone, that's a problem. Because now you have access into that system, I have no idea who's gonna get that phone.
are you talking about staff?
Yeah.
Well, I said phone, but I really should just said our
It's your,
company
so,
tablets.
okay, fine, that's fine, it's a company issue, got it.
Yeah,
Perfect.
well, maybe when I said personal phones, they could see tea times, right? Because just like yourself, you can log into our website and see what tea times are available or not. But for our staff, we're going to invest in tablets and having those available for
Okay.
them.
Alright,
That makes sense, because the ranger, whoever's out there that day, they'll see it
Yeah.
pop up. Yeah, it makes sense.
it's a can of worms, it's a can of worms.
Oh, yeah,
but I mean, we gotta make it work.
No, I get that, but I'm from the security aspect of this thing.
Yeah,
And what information's gonna be out there, and I'm like, well, wait a minute, that's,
Can you elaborate a little more?
sure, because if somebody gets into that and they actually get into the system and they get into the app itself, they're gonna say, oh, listen, I already, I got, here's Pete DeFazio, I know he's a season pass holder, let me get his information.
Well, the
And I'll say-
information is only being shared within staff.
It doesn't matter, they lose something, they lose the tablet,
You're right.
you don't have to live in a security, all I'm saying is, listen, be conscious of the security
Yeah.
personal.
And,
There's something called NIST, that you really wanna make sure that somebody is on top of what they're doing.
we're really relying on our staff to
You're gonna have to
do
rely
it
on-
correctly. So they'll need proper training, proper information.
But
What else can I say? They gotta be trained, so.
Just out of curiosity, something like that, is there like in the town, is there like an IT department that's all software that we're using in all applications?
Sure there is.
Yeah, 2 doors down is our IT
I'm sure
department.
Right.
So, Brian Freeman, he's all about that. And again, I'm just, Mark and I thought about it, threw it out to Mark, and, he thought it was good enough to present to y'all. So,
I think it's a great idea.
It's a great idea, but just going with our eyes
Let's see
wide
how
open.
it goes.
Yeah.
And it's not even like, it might not even be every day, because some nights you have a league, I think,
Mm-hmm,
right?
Yeah,
yeah,
yes.
So it could just be
like
like
a lot of
weekends
nights,
or,
Quite a
it's
few,
almost
yeah.
definitely
So-
not, they have to leave.
I was just kind of thinking out loud with Mark.
No, that's fine.
Oh, that's a good idea.
You hit the nail on the head, there's a lot of people just walking on, they just gotta wait around.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
Right,
You'll see that they wait around and then, when the road takes off, shoo,
it's free for all.
yeah, it's, how you want, and they won't even start on the first hole, they'll go to the third hole and hop on over there,
Right,
right?
so when our ranger is out there roaming around
Mhm.
and he sees a group that's on his tablet, well, he'll approach them. He's not gonna, again, be a police person, but If he needs to call the proper folks, he'll call the proper
You do that a
folks.
couple times, it'll cure itself.
The message, yeah, right. One other thing, could we post that? I mean, is there, could we post that somewhere? I mean, for people that know that they shouldn't be on the court, but you don't have a ticket, I mean, post it up so they know if we catch you, you bust it. Because it's there, sitting there for you.
Well, you know, a lot of this information will have to be posted, you know,
Right.
whatever new policy. So
And
that's-
reality is, the people who come in after 6, you know, it's a small group of people and it's the same people,
Right.
you know?
Oh, it is?
Yeah, it
Oh,
is.
yeah.
Once you catch them once or twice,
Yeah.
you know what, they're gonna get,
They'll stop, yeah.
they're gonna get
That's
the
why,
masses.
right, yeah.
It is the same people.
So just for your own knowledge, starters and rangers should be starting and ranging and not hanging out 40% or 50% of the time in the golf shop, right?
Right.
You know, when I interview just our potential employees, I make it clear that I expect a lot.
Fabulous.
Good.
Just throwing that out there.
High standards.
Yeah.
And to elaborate on that, when I hire golf shop attendants, I'm hiring assistant pros. So I'm putting a lot on their plate to make sure things run when I'm not there. So yes.
Thank you.
And I've gotten a lot of feedback from, you know, about previous staffs or whatever. So I hope I kind of know what to look for to improve.
Great.
The last new policy, this is where I might get some pushback, but from my understanding, the tee time booking window is 4 and 5 days. Right, I think non-residents get 4, residents and season passes gets 5.
Yes, sir.
I'm proposing everyone gets 5.
Disagree.
I disagree totally. Do you wanna hear?
Well, no. Let's hear why, let's hear why.
I wanna
Reason
know
being why?
what your reasoning is.
Mark tells me by the time non-residents get a chance to book a Saturday, well, most of it's gone. How are we gonna make our peak rounds?
You know, we talked about this kind of in the beginning and then we went to everybody. And what was brought up is who has skin in the game. And one of the things that we came up with, even if we just took Saturday and Sunday and say, okay, the first 50 people who sign in, we'll let a day before, on the fourth day prior, we can let 50 residents sign up. After that, it goes to everybody else. But at least, Jim said way in the beginning, residents have skin in the game, pay taxes. I think there should be some leniency for those to make sure that they get in first. And so we just block out 50 spaces, or,
The issue is more on the weekend.
and that's what I'm talking
Is that what you're
about,
talking about, some weekends?
Saturday and Sundays.
Right.
Between the, you know, you get an extra day, all our leagues and whatever, you know, our prime rates doesn't have a chance to play. We already didn't raise your rates, right? So if you're asking for a leeway, there's your leeway, right? Yes or no?
Yeah, we got
I'm
good,
still part of the, you know, we paid taxes for years and years, and a lot of the times that we didn't make a profit, it was our tax dollars that was making the difference. I think that a certain number of people should be, you know, should have.
I think I've acknowledged your tax increase already by not raising your rates too much.
Mhm.
I was very lenient with
Yes.
y'all,
yes,
with
we're,
making the rates,
Right.
right?
Yes,
I
you
basically shut my mouth and put the digits you guys wanted, right?
yes.
I'm supporting you there, I'm supporting you with the clock.
The
What
will,
else? I'm supporting a lot of things. I hope
Well, you can support,
you this.
Okay.
and I really think, and I agree with you, Jim, I think the residents should have some advantage of, you know, getting early starting times compared to non-residents because, you know, these are the people that are supporting the golf course week after week. These guys that are coming from, say, Fairfield County or whatever, they might be only here one time a year, all right, to play. You know, I don't agree with it. I really feel strongly that the residents should have an advantage. And,
I think it's
being
unfair
with
when
the-
you say you don't have an advantage.
But what Sean's talking about, he's right, because like, we do live in town, we do get a break, right? But that person that's coming from out of town, he's paying more money
Yeah.
We understand.
than we are, but you understand what I'm saying? So yeah, it's tough, it
So
really is tough.
why don't we, I wouldn't say 50, but why don't the problem that I think you were, and I'm just gonna spitball this thing, you run into is if you put a certain allotment around for, and say this is for residents, right? The same people are saying, they'll dollar for dollars, right, and they're gonna book them all. So how do you know what I mean, so you can say, listen, I'll tell you what, for the first, or every other one will be for a resident. You know what, and then, then it's a free for all for everybody after that. How do you prevent the same people from getting, booking the times, you know what I mean?
Then I'll tell you what, and this isn't gonna be very popular either, but we were allowing multiple tee times for one phone call.
Yeah,
And if that's now, and the golf shop was in favor of that because it cut down on the amount of phone calls that they had.
Right.
So now, we're kind of talking out of both sides of our mouth here. So what do we wanna do? But if we, you cannot call and get 4 tee times if this is the case.
or you can do it,
And I know that people are they're gonna hate me for saying this, but it's
But you
gotta
gotta
be
shut it down
discussed.
then, you gotta shut it down,
So
it's not
what are you
fair.
gonna do, I mean,
If a resident-
there's no right answer here.
Right,
So we're
it's
just
an open discussion, right?
Right, absolutely,
If-
yeah.
If you, Ms. Norton, really want the 8:30, well, go online, book it.
How many can I book online? Are you gonna limit that?
One.
Oh, you
So you
can-
can book a foursome online, one
Yeah.
foursome online, got
You
it.
want the 8:30, wake up at the time allotted, book it. Don't call us, just book it. That is the fastest way of making it.
Is everything gonna be online?
Is that what you're looking
No,
at?
we still welcome phone calls, but that's slower than online. So you pick your poison.
I mean, the only concern that I have with making it the same, resident and non-resident, I mean, there's been a lot of political going back and forth about what to do with the golf course, right? And ultimately, it's the residents in the town that are gonna have sway on the town council as to what to do. How many people in town play golf? I mean, to be honest, I don't know, right? Maybe I should, but I don't. I appreciate the fact that it's the folks from out of town that are paying premium. And that's a nice revenue stream that we wanna maintain. But there's this sensitivity, at least in my mind, until we get to this point where the council wholeheartedly embraces Timberland Golf Course as a public municipal golf course. I don't wanna irritate the town
So-
residents.
On average, right, if you just take our average for the past 2 years, who do you think had more weekend runs?
Town people.
Yeah, season pass holders.
Now, I'm gonna
No,
throw,
for
I'm
a la
gonna,
carte.
I'm gonna throw a wrench in there too. So the budget and the revenue projections are all based on averages and rounds.
Mhm.
They're based on the same amount of rounds that we've had from years past. Years past, we've had residents calling in 5 days. And we've made the number. We're projecting to make more than the budget this year. I mean, how much do we wanna squeeze? Because,
Squeeze is a tough word there.
well,
I'm not squeezing anyone.
no,
Right?
that's, wrong
I'm
choice of words, but on the numbers that we came up with last meeting are all based on same old, right?
Mhm.
And we're making the number, we're making more than the number based on this. But
I mean, if you guarantee me the same rounds,
there's nothing guaranteed,
well, there you go.
nothing's
No, it
guaranteed.
doesn't-
But we're going based on an
We're going
average,
based on the average.
we're using the average.
If you-
Hey, you know what, if it rains June, July, and
Yeah.
August, I don't care if you're a non-resident or a resident, nobody's gonna come to
Yeah,
the golf
no,
course.
What if more residents buy more season passes?
History doesn't really reflect that, I don't think it does.
Okay.
I mean, truthfully, Sal, I don't see that in the cards, you can go back 5 years,
I
right?
see this year after year.
It's the
Usually
same- it's the same-
amount of numbers.
It's within, put it this way, it's within, it's not like there's a
The
huge
retired
spike, it's a,
people will buy the passes.
yeah,
because they
I mean,
can
just call it what it is, you're right, but
So let me get this understanding, so you're saying that the season pass holders are supporting the golf course?
no, that's not what he's saying.
Okay,
That's what he's saying.
so-
No, I think what Sal's trying to say is, and correct me if I'm wrong, that we have the numbers and we base our income figure based upon the numbers and the averages that have been presented throughout the year, right, for the last couple of years, whatever. Use the 2-year average, we've seen 5, we've seen 3, whatever, it doesn't matter. But was there a sharp increase in the season pass holders in, say, the past 2 years? And the answer is no. It's not, and then the thing that did increase is the non-resident season.
Non-resident season
So
pass.
the non-resident season pass holders did increase.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing that's the only increase really that there was. So as far as saying, okay, so the senior pass holders, are eating up the time, that's not really true, right? Because there's really the numbers are the numbers, this is what we've been doing. So the real question I think you have to ask yourself is there such a disparity between a resident 18 and a non-resident 18 on the weekend? And is that enough to make up the delta that you're talking about?
If you're
That's
telling me-
really what it comes down to.
You're telling me everyone's just paying a la carte, no season passes or anything? I really don't care if you get 2 days in advance,
Yes, sir.
right?
Okay.
Hey, Chris.
It's almost out of time.
Little golf soon, right?
Right,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It hasn't stopped.
Yeah, well, no, it never actually stops.
right.
Well, everybody have a great evening and a very happy 2023.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If you put the kibosh on for the weekend, and that's where the problem is, that people cannot get more than one tee time, will that help?
That could create a
Is that
problem.
better?
That could create a problem.
That's
Why?
gonna create a problem.
That's gonna create a problem because you got like the men's club and stuff like that
Well,
there.
I'm not talking about this club now.
Well, no, but you're talking, but still, it's part of
Or are you?
I don't know.
It's, but listen,
I'll tell you right now, that the men's club,
right,
when there is a men's club event
right,
versus a non-men's club event,
right.
the men's club event always generates more revenue. 100% of the time.
Okay,
We have a bigger men's.
we have a bigger.
100% of the
Right.
time, because a lot of men's club members are non-residents too, but, and we've proven that, and the former chairman from the former commission said, well, you could skew the numbers any way you want, however, those numbers came directly from the POS system, and we proved time and time again that during a men's club event, the course generated more money than the same people not.
That's good, but like you're saying, during the men's club, yeah, we.
But what he's saying
The off
is,
weekends.
Oh, the off weekend part of it,
the off weekends, yeah, the off weekends.
but still, that's gonna cause, because that even on that off weekend, there's a lot of guys who want that certain teeth.
So
And like you
And
said.
they want a
you
group
go
of
back-
them, so.
Exactly.
They want a group of them.
Exactly,
But back to more than one tee time, will that cause a problem with the weekend people if they were?
What it will do is it will cause more people to either book online or call. Because if one person can only make one tee time,
Okay,
then if they want 4 groups,
is that a problem?
if
in
they
the
want 4
weekend?
groups, then everybody's gonna have to call and try to get one each.
try to get
Doesn't
their
that-
teeth times behind each other, or whatever.
Yeah,
Gail has her hand up, she's had it up for a while. Hey, Gail, let's see what you have to say. You there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Maybe I missed it, Saul, but what is your rationale for proposing the change?
Just to have a chance for our peak rates to show up more, or like what Mr. Peters says, not having multiple tee times with one phone call, or I just like to have the weekend tee sheet more available.
You gotta get, is that good?
Well, I guess I don't understand more available. The weekend tee sheet fills up. So why do we need to make it more available? It's my understanding that weekends are full all the time. So I don't understand.
But they're
I
being
think-
I know
full
it's full because,
with
you know,
residents.
if you get 5 days and I only get 4 days, yeah, it's full for you. But when I call on my time, it's very
Are you
full.
concerned about revenue? I mean, because ultimately, that's really what this comes down to. Are you concerned about revenue? Just,
A little?
okay, so, because that's what this is all gonna boil down to, revenue, right? So,
Yeah.
at the end of the day,
Customers, revenue.
at the end of the day, no matter how you slice it, it's all about revenue,
Right.
right? So if you're thinking, and because I've already looked at numbers, if you're thinking about the margins and saying, listen, you know, and I understand where you're coming from, because you're in the hot seat, because it's like, oh my gosh, man, it's like, you know.
I gotta look at these numbers.
Yeah, the numbers, you gotta really, right? I look at it from a perspective, it's like, okay, so, you know, Mark said you're missing there's browns that are missing. That are in the specials, so how do you look at it? So, you know, you showed a profit of 40 some odd, let's just call it 40 grand, right? That's what you said.
I think we're at that right now.
You're right, that's exactly where you were, in that area. So Mark said you're already missing another $60,000 worth of,
No, that's with that.
that's with the 40,000 in
Yeah,
there.
that's with the specials.
With the specials in there, yeah.
Okay, I didn't see, okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, we
You had,
did
so
that.
you have the
We're
bank charge,
revising it already.
you have the bank charges in there,
In the budget.
in the budget of
As an
$34,000
expense?
as an expense, a
Yeah, I can't take that out yet because I don't know
Not
the
yet,
answer to it.
not yet, but so you have something sitting over that's a maybe. There's another big number that was sitting out there too.
The range, or
Well, that was number one down already, another 5 grand. That keeps going down lower and lower. So, you know, I saw that one, right. So there's 5 grand right there, and Jerry's 15. But there's another number in computer support.
either way, I'm confident in making numbers, right? Because making numbers is really weather dependent.
Sure.
What kind of
Right.
service
But you
you
need
get,
a
what kind of
cushion.
quality
You
of
still need your
courses.
cushion, right? You still
Right.
need your cushion.
So,
Yeah, I'm a cushion guy, but
so if that's the case, why penalize the resident who does pay taxes in this town? Okay, while you're still making the number.
you said squeeze, not penalize.
Well,
No, no,
it's,
no, no.
so, if you,
Listen,
listen, the bottom line is if you're gonna make it the same for everybody, there are gonna be residents who don't get a tea time. Because the Timberland is very desirable on the
Yeah.
weekends, and it takes an act of God to get a tea time. Even if you're a resident,
Oh,
it
yeah,
takes an act of God,
There's no doubt about that.
okay? So now, what would you call it if a resident who pays taxes in this town calls and doesn't get a tea time?
And then I was
Is he or she not getting,
If that is the case, right, that phone call is gonna turn into book online. Because that's the fastest way.
I mean,
Hey, Saul, what happens if I want to go up? What we do right now is we take whoever wants to go up there at 5:30 in the morning, 6 o'clock, can get a tea time on Monday and Tuesday or Wednesday, Thursday. They can go up early and get a tea time and walk in. That's the way our policy's been.
Like on day tea time, same day tea time?
4 days ahead?
4 or 5
4
days.
days ahead.
I mean, the way you make a tea time is up to you. You can wait there, you can call me, you can go online. You have many ways to make a tea time. I'm just saying everyone gets the same leeway,
So,
right?
Yeah.
I don't think you'd rather have me sell the tea times individually. Right? You want 8:30 every week, well,
No,
there's a
no.
price for that.
no, that doesn't
No,
happen,
no,
that doesn't
no,
happen
no,
now.
no. Go through that, right?
No.
That doesn't happen
Okay.
now. We get, when you call, what's available? Here's what's available, okay, I'll take so-and-so.
I think
Peter
that's where the
Capazzi never
problem
calls
is.
and says, oh, I got my 8:30.
No, I'm not saying
Yeah.
that, right? I think that's where you and I are in crossroads, right? Me, I'm not calling. I'm going online to book my tea time.
But okay, all right. So you go online, you book the tea time, but it's really no different. So
You're right. There's no difference.
Are you trying? Is that what you? So you really want to go online with everything? Is
Yes.
What you're trying to do. So I don't have a problem with
To
that.
me, it's no different.
I don't have a problem
if
with
it's
that.
everyone's got 5 days if you
If
book
the
it the
phone,
right way.
if the phone
No,
doesn't,
that
if the
was-
phone
that was
never
the
rings in
test-
the golf shop, but the resident has some sort of advantage or head start, who cares if it's online or via the phone? That's not what we're debating here.
Mhm.
What we're saying is that the non-resident gets treated the same as the resident, and the non-resident doesn't have any skin in the game at all.
To me,
That's
we're not
that-
treating you the same. You have different prices.
think that, when you think about it, if a resident doesn't get a tea time,
Mhm.
they have to go elsewhere and pay an out-of-town price. If a non-resident doesn't get a tea time, doesn't make any difference, because they can go anywhere and they're still gonna pay an out-of-town.
You're right, Miss Nancy. You're right.
You know,
I don't have a
and
rebuttal on that.
we
You're
just want the money that they,
I
non-residents.
just don't wanna lose peak prices.
Well, okay, so it is about the money, that's fine.
If you're still making your figure, I mean, it's not you, it's if we are still, it's us, if we are still making our figure, right, and we're not a profit center. And this comes down to a fundamental problem over and over again, this is since the beginning of time. If we are not a profit center, right, we are an amenity of the town that our charter says we need to cover our costs, that's it. We cannot be looked at this to say, hey, you know what, I can make more money by selling it to Peter, cause he lives, in Meriden, versus Jimmy who lives in town, or you know what I mean? Well, whatever. That's it, so the question is, it's not for beating but we're not a profit.
So, I know you wanna make changes out there, but I think we gotta go slow, all right?
It's not about
Because
me,
it's,
sir.
let me finish. It's an election year coming up in town, and what's gonna happen, and it's done in the past, people, if they don't like things the way they're going, they're gonna run right down to the mayor's office and they're gonna start bitching. All right, well, why did they do this? Why did they do that? All right, and the mayor's gonna come back to us and say, why did you do that? All right, and I've seen it over 40 years in town that, the voice down the town hall, a lot of things done around this small town. So I think you got to be careful on how you move things. I mean, you're making some good changes out there, but you got to go in small steps.
I mean, this is not my first rodeo, so please don't underestimate my experience.
No.
And also, hold on, I'm talking. Please don't think whatever I'm changing is because of me, right? I'm gonna go to sleep either way, right? I feel like, and Mark feels like this is the best for Timberland, right? If y'all can't understand that, well, that's why we're having this conversation, right? So, again,
so it's about the revenue.
if y'all don't like the same days, well, at least give me, you can't make more than one tea time.
I'd be okay with that.
I'm okay with that too, so I am okay with that.
I'll go with that, but
And I don't think that the people during the week, for the weekdays, I don't think you need a 4 and a 5. I think just.
Well,
5 days.
Nancy,
we have to be consistent.
I'm gonna say that, it has to be the same for everybody,
Okay,
7 days a
Alright.
week, I mean, consistency is the key.
okay.
Especially on a
What's good for the goose is good for the
Yeah,
gander.
definitely.
so basically what you want, so you want that one tea time, so we don't have to bring,
You don't have to what?
so we don't have to bring the other sorts in for the money for somebody who's not a member, living in town. So you want one tea time per weekend,
I'm saying, you make a phone call,
Right.
that's one tea time.
Yeah.
one tea time.
You want another one, have someone else
Have
call.
somebody else call it.
That's all, that's
Okay.
all I'm asking.
That's fine.
Is
So
there
that's
a
unfair.
plan to go 100% online? for tea
It's never
times?
gonna be 100% at any club I've worked for. It's never 100%.
I think you're always gonna have people, and please take this the wrong way.
No.
But you're gonna have, more
Just say,
We're senior citizens who are gonna sit there.
but not on the weekends.
My mother-in-law used to play golf. Was she gonna go online and book a time? No.
Some of our senior
Right, so,
citizens
listen.
don't even know how to use a computer.
Right,
Some
so
senior
they're
citizens
always
live-
gonna be called.
run circles around you. I've seen, listen, I'm a senior citizen.
Well, glad you finally admitted that.
That is
pretty rude.
Oh, man.
You get-
You get wet. But there are other senior citizens much older than me,
Yeah.
let's just say that way, that'll run circles around here with an iPad.
I mean, I'd be happy with 50-50, 50% phone calls, 50% online.
I think that's what they were trying to do.
That only means, right, our golf shop staff is not bombarded with phone calls, right? They can concentrate more on the people in front of them,
Exactly.
Exactly.
right?
And it's more real time.
It's correct, you know, and I think, you know, if we go, if you say 1 tee time per phone call or whatever per online, okay, then you're giving non-residents a
You give
little
them
more
some leeway.
chance.
Exactly.
And I
You
disagree,
just get a little more chance.
but I
Yes, you
still,
are.
I still agree that the residents should have a little bit more leeway as far as, you know, being a day. And if you wanna then say, I'm only gonna give you, in the 5 days, a certain number of tee times or something like that, well, I mean, we're talking this thing through, Sal.
Right.
So, I mean, we're gonna have to come to some sort of agreement on this thing with everybody, if this is where we're gonna go, but
And
it's
you
just,
can try it for this year,
but, you know, how many you wanna put aside?
a limit, yeah, that, and then they're full. Or
So-
until the next day.
So these rates have to be approved by town council.
Yeah.
But what happens?
So I mean, I'll just bear with you. So, you know, listening to this discussion, it's not that we don't understand. It's as representing the community, we think the community is gonna push back. Now, I get some calls from non-residents, why? Because I got a bunch of friends who live around here, complaining they can't get tee times. I get a lot of calls from residents complaining they can't get tee times. And you know, my response is always the same. You can't get a tee time because it's a great course, it's really popular, it's well maintained, it's well run, it's competitively priced. So I feel bad for you, but
That's it is what it is.
you know, you got so much time during the day, so many days, that's it.
Yeah.
But I'm really sensitive, I hear what you're saying, but I'm really sensitive to people will complain.
We have season pass
Well, people's
holders
complaints change.
who have tried to come and get credit and get refunds because they've bought a season pass and they can't get out. We end up, you know, working the numbers out, and most of the times we try not to give it
We
back
have
to
a policy
them.
now that avoids that, but
Yeah.
I think it's gonna come down to, you know, I understand where you're coming from, Sal, I do. You know, and the one per online, I said, I'm okay with that, I'm okay with that. But at the end of the day, if we're still hitting our number, and it's gonna come down to, it's all about the revenue, it's all gonna come back down to this thing.
That's what this whole thing is about. It's
If
about,
we're hitting our
this is
number-
about the revenue. You can sugarcoat it any way you
Well,
want.
it's about the
But
revenue.
this is about the revenue.
If we're hitting our number,
Because, I mean,
is there something that you want, and let me,
Go ahead.
I'll just close off with this. Is there something that you have in the back of your head that you're saying, listen, that's gonna cost a big nut, that we need to generate more revenue for? Is there something that you're thinking of that listen, I wanna, you know, do this, and this, but it's gonna cost, you know, X, that we need to raise the revenue in order to get that? Is that where you're going with this thing?
You're gonna get the same solid who make a penny or 100,000, right? To me, I just want, you know, this change, you know, where we can meet in the middle is one tee time.
Now, you said that Mark,
I'm
So what Jimmy was just saying, like you just said something, people live in town and they can't get a tee time, right? Okay, so now you're backing that up, I mean, so like, do we give a season pass? Because if you're saying that people living in town, they can't get a tee time and they bought a season pass, I mean, what's the sense of having a season pass? And you can't give them the money, and they can't get a tee time, I mean, that's something to think about too as well.
it's just,
Yeah, but
it's
that's a
just,
rarity.
No, but
That's not
just
fair.
weekend play.
We have-
I mean, it's.
no, it's
People-
still all the time. It's people during the peak or whatever. It's like he said, some people can't get a tee time and they bought a season pass.
During the week you can,
Well, who wants it? A lot of people can't play during the week. They wanna play on the weekend.
I know, right, but the thing is, the season passes for,
Well, what I would say though, Jim, what I would say is
It
this.
is.
If you're buying a season's pass, right?
Yeah.
It's like like I used to buy seasons passes to ski areas. I stopped doing that. Why? Well, because of, you look outside, that's why I stopped doing it.
Exactly.
But if you're buying a season's pass, you're gonna do some legwork, you're gonna do some homework, you're gonna say, how readily available am I going to be able to go there and play? How often can I use the season's pass, so on and so forth. Where I'm at now in my life, I'm not gonna buy a season's pass. Why? Cause I work 55, 60 hours a week.
Right.
The only time I can get out here is on a weekend, and I'm one of those who
Won't get it.
Who can't get out?
Can't get out there.
Can't get out.
So, and that's just the way it is. But my point is this, if you're buying a season's pass, and I don't mean to say this in a bad way, naively thinking that you're gonna be able to go play every Saturday,
No, that's foolishness.
Yes.
Right,
that's my point.
right.
That's my point.
Yeah.
So, if you're buying that season's pass, thinking that, you're,
Truthfully, I bought a season pass and the only weekends I try to play is if there's a tournament. I don't even play them all because you know what? I realized even though I have an unlimited one, listen, it's a gift. I look at it
Yeah,
that
but when you
way.
say tournament, you're playing in
The men's club.
the men's club,
Well, for the most
but
part,
that's the time,
chances are,
we have the time
not
set
all
up for
the
the
time.
men's
Very
club.
rare will I play.
All that
I
time
mean,
set
my wife
up.
won't let me play. Just go over it. So it's like,
Right,
So, you said that Mark is in favor of the 5-day.
He's the one who
So
actually
what
brought it
was
up.
what's his reasoning? Did he tell you why, in the past, did he see a problem?
I think what he saw was, and you're gonna say it's revenue related again, but I think what he saw in the past is there was not, by the 4th day, there's no more tee times available.
well, that's because it's more than one. I think
So
that's
we'll
your-
meet in the middle.
You know what?
That's right.
I will venture to guess that whether you do 4 tee times or 1 tee time, it's all gonna be the same. They're gonna be used up. And if we're making our number, to cater to a non-resident, in my opinion, when residents wanna play, is doing a disservice to the resident. And I don't disagree that the 1 tee time is fine. But if this group wants 4 times, they're gonna get 4 times. Oh, the only thing is
Four guys gotta go on.
4 or 8 or 16 different people are gonna call
Yeah.
or go online to get those 4
Whatever,
times.
then let it happen.
But I don't think you're gonna see any increase in the available times going to, to 1 tee time. The times are gonna get used up as they always do. And if we're making our number, so be it.
but
That's my
what's probably what's probably going on there too, because when them people make that 2 or 3 tee times, it's a group that wanna be locked in together. They wanna come into the club together and everything, see, so now that's not gonna be able to happen.
They're not gonna be able to.
They're not gonna be able to do
it.
It's not gonna, like you said, you're gonna get the same revenue, but you're not gonna get able to come together at,
That topic has been a problem for years,
Right.
of multiple tee times.
right.
And you know what? Fair is fair. If
Yeah.
in the new day and age now, we have to end it, we have to end it. That's the way
Right.
it is.
No, it's
But I
one tee
I
time per
still-
call, right?
We'll make this old business for next time.
Yeah.
You know,
It's a good food for thought. No,
We have time anyway, so yeah, it'd be nice to get Mark, to hear
Right.
Mark on this
you
subject.
know,
For the next
I
meeting.
think I need Mark here, but.
Oh, I heard that
But no,
But no, but if he's supporting it, it would be good to have him here.
so a different question though, Mr.
Yes, sir.
Don't call me sir. I work. I think that work. So like other municipal golf courses in the area, what do they do?
Some of them don't even have different rates, they just have one rate.
True.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Right.
That's true.
Marion only got one rate, they don't have a town, they don't have a town thing.
Pretty sure,
But
our
I know-
neighbors, some of them have one rate.
Stanley's
So-
got 2 rates. They got resident and non-resident, and then, but I think Howie does, they let you book the multiple tee times. You can, if you're gonna pay for them, he lets you book them.
And you
so-
know what, Mr. Saul, I think what we should do is let's see what other municipalities are doing for tee times, let's see what they're
Yeah,
doing.
that's a
I'll
good
do some
idea.
research.
You know, and this way here, we can,
Yeah.
see what's going on around us and take it from there. We'll have Mark here with you next meeting and we'll.
No, it's only Mark, I'm not coming.
Or you can have 5 days, but you can make multiple tee times.
Well, you're in the same boat that you are.
Yeah,
I think,
But I mean,
I
at least-
think what you're trying to do is just a lot more online is where we're going with this.
Yeah.
That's not
Bottom
what I want.
line, I would like more online.
Yep.
It eases the burden on the staff for
Yeah.
sure.
Sure.
It is.
Because, you know, no offense to whoever I'm hiring, but I don't think I'm hiring anyone, no superstars, right? Like, there's gonna be new people in the business, they might get overwhelmed easily.
Yeah.
So, you know, just kind of thinking ahead and being proactive and making sure their experience, you know,
Makes
while working is
Yeah.
tameable.
Yeah.
So,
Gail, do you have your hand up?
Yeah, yes, I do.
Go ahead.
One point
And
that
then
I-
Sunny. Go ahead.
Yeah, the one point I'd like to make is that, you know, we are fortunate in that we've made a little profit in the last few years. But the reality is, if for some reason we don't, as you all have said, if it's really bad weather and we don't meet the numbers, who covers that cost? Well, the town will cover that cost. And that is taxpayer money. So I think we really do need to think carefully. And the town, you know, taxpayer money has supported the golf course in the past. So I think we have to think very carefully before making a change, because the town is on the hook for the expenses in the long run.
Good point.
So you got a question, Seb, or you good?
Yeah, you know, and just want to let you guys know that, you know, I'm an early riser. I get up early. I usually go up to the golf course on Mondays to get a tee time. All right, and there's a number of players that are my age group that do the same thing. All right, and we're up there when the golf course opens up and the pro shop opens up. We're in there where we can get a tee time when we're there. They can take a phone call, take the next person. Phone call, next person. So I think that needs to continue also.
Do you have a problem with that?
I never said you can't. I gave 3 options on how to make a tea time.
Yeah, that wasn't that in person was still on the table. That was never discussed to go away.
But don't
Okay.
take it out on our staff when your tea time's not available because it was already booked.
Nobody says anything.
I know, but I'm saying, and to Ms. Gale's point, you know, which is a really valid point. Thank you, Ms. Gale. You know, I was not bringing this up to penalize residents, right? So with that, I'm gonna stand down about this topic. I'll do some research. Ultimately, you know, I'll talk to Mark before our next meeting, and we may just stand down.
Just come up with different options, that's all.
Yeah, we may just stand down.
I'm sure we'll all come to an agreement that's fair for everybody.
Yeah, I just wanna make sure that you all know you're part of my thinking, and, you know, every decision that I make or we make, it's us, right? It's not just me.
Yeah.
I don't want you guys to feel that,
We
right?
totally get that.
Yeah.
Totally get that.
Absolutely.
It's a new day.
It's right. This is very productive too.
You gotta hit the nut, man, that's it, you just gotta hit the nut, that's really what it comes down to.
Don't ever feel as though we're ganging up on you.
No,
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 we're not, no, it's not
If
personal.
we make if you guarantee me we make
I can't make you
$0, I'll sign
Well,
for it.
that's all you gotta do,
We'll
just,
go
just
with it,
break
you know?
even, right?
We don't
At the
need
end
to
of the
make
day,
a lot. I just wanna make sure we're okay at the end of the year.
we're on the same page on that one,
Yeah, and we can always
Yeah,
talk about it
nobody
next
wants to
year.
lose money,
no?
Right.
so. All right, so let's put that on,
What old
that'll be
policy?
old business.
I saw some paperwork from John Zook's desk, and I don't know if this is new or old, but there was something that said within leagues, there can only be 50% with season passes.
Never saw that one.
I don't remember,
I never saw that one.
there was some discussion about that, but I don't know if that was.
Okay,
if
we'll
that
leave it
was,
at that. If
ever.
no one,
What, is it gonna create a problem?
no, I'm just asking if that is the policy.
Mark
Like for
would
every
probably be.
club.
able to
So I'll
answer
ask
that.
Mark.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember that as ever being set in stone.
Okay, I mean, his paperwork's old, so.
Yeah.
Yes,
It was just in his desk, so. Other than that, that's all I got, gang, for new policies, unless anyone else wanna bring some stuff up.
This is Gail. I have a clarifying question. So you mentioned these policies. So are you going to be drafting them? Written them?
Yeah,
Paul?
cause all these policies have to be written and made, so everyone has a backbone to it, you know, as everyone meaning our staff and, you know, whoever we're applying these new policies to. Like, I can't say, this is our rain check policy and not have it written down. I'm gonna sound like I just made it up that day, so.
Do
Yeah.
these all have to go to the town council to be approved?
You know what,
Peter,
I'm gonna say no, I mean, that's what the commission is here for, we're here to create policies, I think that we discussed that we're gonna, that amongst ourselves, we will create the policies. I'm pretty sure that was,
Didn't they pass on that once before?
yeah, I'm pretty sure that, we can do our own policies at this point.
Just to recap, is everyone okay with the rate check policy?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Is everyone okay with the slow play policy?
Yes.
Jimmy, think twice before you say that.
Did we bring about the range, did we bring up the range, did we bring up anything about the range?
I can assure you I'm gonna be a victim
Not
of
yet,
that.
one second. Is everyone okay with the after 6 p.m.
Yes,
policy?
sir.
Probably more okay with that than any of the others.
The 6 p.m. one?
Absolutely.
Alright, there you go. You were saying something, Mr. Green?
About the range,
What about the range?
about how we go about the driving range, about buying the balls and stuff like that.
Was that on the list?
Can we put that up there, Peter?
We can do that open discussion.
Open discussion, okay, so we'll do that later.
Yeah, okay.
Alright, the 2020, yes.
Just one quick
Yes,
question,
sir.
are we sure that any policies that we enact don't have to be presented?
No, we're not sure.
Yeah, I can find out. I'll find
Yeah,
out,
I'm pretty sure that that's the case, but
yeah.
we won't do anything without getting confirmation.
Maybe that last one where I got a lot of pushback, maybe.
Open discussion, that's
Open
all it is,
discussion,
man, it's not
yeah.
pushback, it's just
It's,
discussion.
Open discussion.
Okay, the rates.
So the rates, sorry to start it, but
No,
I have to hand it in by the 30th and present it on the 7th. So I'd like to finalize it by tonight, so.
I thought, personally, I thought the changes that we made on the last meeting are good to go, from my point of view.
And with the cards I was asking you about?
Yep.
When I figured it out, I mean, it seems like it's a big jump, $21, but it is a deal, you know, anyway.
You okay with it?
Yeah, I'm okay with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got a little pushback by Jerry, I keep saying his name wrong, Paradis?
There it is.
Gerald Paradis, yes.
About the driving range, increase. So,
Really?
I
Well,
think,
You mean with the balls and
You
stuff?
wanted, we actually put it down.
I know, but
Yeah.
I just wanted to bring that up. I also wanna say that, you know, maybe we could get away from the range season pass.
You not do a range pass?
Yeah, not
Is
offer a
what you're
range pass.
How much, how
Do
many
you
did you
sell a
sell
lot
last
of
year?
them?
I
No,
don't,
it wasn't many.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it's 7 and 5 the last 2 years.
Oh, so, you know.
See, but, and that's interesting though, so there were, the sheet was full.
That's because of Mark's programs,
Gotcha, okay.
right? 'Cause
And it was his range, he could do
That's his
whatever he
range,
wants,
he
yeah,
can do whatever he
okay. Alright, so those weren't all purchased, those were just the ones that
part
were
of his
eligible
program.
for it.
Yeah. The reason is not revenue, it's staff, you know, what our staff has to do, right? If we don't have a season pass, if we don't have a guy taking golf balls with him, or we don't have a person leaving golf balls in a range so the next person can just hit it, we don't have to police much.
You will have people putting balls they don't hit in their trunks. Absolutely.
That are season passes or not?
no,
Either way.
Either way, right?
Yeah,
Got it.
either way. I'm paying $11.
Got it.
I'm paying $11 for a large bucket, I didn't hit them all, I'm
Yeah.
paying for those babies, I'm taking them home.
yeah, but that's, you can't do
I
that,
can't believe
you,
people would do that.
Like,
people do
It's
that, but you
amazing,
can't, you can't do that, Peter.
I know you can't do that,
But
Jim.
people
do.
People do.
Really?
They do.
The season pass holders, on the other hand, leave them there, so that's another problem.
Right.
Because now you got guys not paying for
Yeah,
balls.
but how many are
and
you gonna
then-
leave? You know, 10
Look,
balls?
I know.
You know what, Jim, that happens
All the
often,
time.
and sometimes with a lot of balls. I'm guilty too. I could be at the end of a round and I'll see a pile of balls on the driving range just sitting there, and I'll go hit those,
Because it's gonna be better than what he did on the past 18 holes.
Well, I was slow and, it's like, I needed some practice.
To me, right, from what I've heard of what has happened, again, I got reliable sources around, that's the case,
Validate, trust but verify.
Yeah.
It's
It's left behind, someone else gets golf balls or they take it with them. Again, I'm just thinking of my staff, right? I just want to make sure, their attention is to the proper position spots, which is the staging area, the cart corral, or starter ranger. I don't want the headache of policing the range too much. I think if everyone does a la carte, well, they're less likely to leave it.
That's right.
Right. And yes, they still may take it, but that's when we step in and make sure they don't.
Right.
So if they don't take it, they paid for it, and they don't take it, they say, oh, leave it there, I'll let somebody else have it. What do you say, no, you can't do that?
Is that fair to the course though?
Well, it doesn't mean that's not the point.
You mean if you buy a bucket?
Buy a bucket, and I say, Jimmy, finish these for me, You can't do that, of course you can do that, that's
Well,
foolish.
of course
Or
you
you
can
get
do
called
it.
to the tee and you're not done
They've
hitting
been
your
paid
practice
for.
ball. Yeah, there's always gonna be balls
Yeah.
left there.
I mean,
It's just how many.
Yeah, so I think your issue, hold on,
I think Ms. Gale has a
I
question.
think your issue is with people taking the balls, right?
That more or less.
More or less.
And I think that too, that people who come and buy balls, they would buy not a large bucket, they may buy a small bucket, because if you're on a tee box a certain amount of time, you're gonna buy a small bucket, so you're gonna hit the majority of them.
Yeah.
If you got a season pass where you're gonna buy, you're just gonna go get a big bucket, throw it down in there, you're gonna have Peter, Sam, and this one there, everybody's gonna hit balls off of you, And what are you buying? You buying a drink?
What is the season pass?
Gail?
That's what I was saying. Ms. Gale has a hand
Yeah,
up.
Gail? Gail?
Hello?
Hey, Gail?
I'm using my phone, so
Oh,
I'm
very
sorry. My only comment about the rates is I was thinking, because it sounds like we missed all those specials that Mark alerted us to when you came up with the spreadsheet. I was thinking about a cross check, and Mark would have a good sense of this. When you added up all of the various starts, the weekends, the resident, non-resident, blah, 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 and the tournaments, I'm not sure how that figures in there, it was a lot lower than our annual rounds our annual starts of 44K. So my recommendation, just to ensure that you've included everything, is, and of course that doesn't have the season pass holders because that isn't on the sheet. We don't know how many rounds those people play. It's not in the revenue, rightfully so. Would just be a cross check to make sure that those rounds add up to about what you think is right. And again, Mark would be the one to know that. Thank you.
Jerry Paradise, what was he concerned about? The price of the range balls?
Yes.
I mean, it only
And
went up
the
$1
$50 extra of the range season pass.
in the season
Well, but
pass.
that was too high?
From my understanding.
Yeah, I think the reasoning is that you're going up and what are you gonna show for the increase?
So.
And I think that's on a lot of people.
Yeah, all right, so my suggestion to you, and you need to tell me, that's fine, take it with a grain of salt, but it's an education process again.
Mhm.
You're raising rates for the range, because the town took it over now, right? They took it over, and now you're jacking it up, whatever it is, you gotta show something for it. And there's gotta be at least, an initial, lipstick on a pig, right? A pig's a pig, it's got lipstick, it doesn't, it's still a pig.
Right.
But you're gonna have to say, listen, and communicate to people, here's my phased-in plan of what I wanna do. You make some improvements and they say, but here's where we're going, right? And that way I think people they'll cut you some slack, but you gotta do what you say you're gonna do. You just get your lip service. And that's just that's my thought, you're gonna go up, but you have to give it's a two-way street, man.
I think I've been pretty clear what phase one is.
But
Right.
to us, that's fine, but not to everybody, I don't know how you're gonna spread that word, be it through a blast, a news, whatever, I
Yeah.
mean,
A monthly email from the director of golf to the whole email list about what Timberland's.
hit the vision, man.
It hits,
That'd be
it could, it
No, of course, I
would make
mean,
all the difference.
you know, Mark and I had a meeting with marketing and,
Yeah.
you know, we both agreed we're gonna do a newsletter
Do you
every month.
Wow.
We both agree every day has a theme, you know, let it be Mondays for golf, Tuesdays for superintendent, Wednesdays for Mark, you know, Thursdays for, you know, whoever, right? So information will get out, right? But also, when you buy a bucket this year, your golf balls won't look like last year's golf balls.
Ain't any different.
One won't be white, one won't be yellow, one won't be muddy. They all gonna be good.
Listen, then, but you know what, again, you know, it's communication is gonna be,
Yeah,
it's
you're
always
right.
gonna be the key.
You know, we,
There's a lot you wanna do,
You're right.
right? There's a lot you wanna do, and you're
Yeah.
thinking, you know, here's what we're thinking, but people don't, I mean, listen, we sit here, we have an idea sometimes what you're thinking, but if you spread that out, you get that to people,
Yeah.
and they know what's going
You
on,
know
well,
what
then,
your
you
phase
know what?
one is.
Here it is,
So they know
yeah,
that it's gonna
exactly, it's gonna
be,
take a couple of years to get you where you get.
and
you know?
I think one of the things I pushed upon our marketing meeting is, you know, we're gonna show the new things.
Mhm.
It's, you know, we're not here to show what people already know,
right.
right? We're there to
Okay.
market
Yeah.
what's new at Timberland, let it be our range or whatever, course condition, whatever, our new golf shop floor, whatever it is, you know, it's,
So when Jim, when you come up on the 18th hole and you get it to the left, you can find your ball.
oh my goodness, that's messed up.
So I gotta bring this up only because a lot of people, well, not a lot, but several people had mentioned last year that we do a lot of marketing for, the restaurant.
We do a lot or
We
not
do.
a lot? A lot, okay.
We've done a lot, you know, and it works well because it's all a part of the golf experience, everything else.
Yes.
However, we pay for that restaurant advertising, as a part of our monthly. Has there been any talk about perhaps having the restaurant kick in a couple of bucks for marketing as well?
We talked about that,
Perfect.
so to elaborate on it, one, we feel the restaurant is part of the experience. If once a customer goes through our front gates, they're not looking at, there's one identity, here's another one, here's another one. It's just Timberland, right? But I get what you're saying, but this is also a contract year for the restaurant, right? So if we're looking to up their price, well, our conversation continues with the value we give them. That's all.
That's fair. I said I'd bring it up, I brought it up.
We may not be
I don't
charging
care either way.
like right now, right?
Right.
But in the future, it'll be part of that, you know.
Right.
So.
Okay.
Added value.
Alright, so, rates, what do we wanna finalize these guys, what else?
No, I'm okay.
Are we good?
No, yeah,
Other than,
good job. Really, good job.
so you're gonna do away with the season pass on the.
If everyone's
golf?
alright with it.
I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with
Yeah.
that.
In the last meeting, Ms. Gale brought up outing prices. Is that right, Ms. Gale?
What's that?
Yes, you did for $1. Go up by $1.
What's that?
Oh, Gil,
She's on
She's on the phone again?
hold on, all of you, yeah,
I got it,
There you go.
sorry. Yeah, I just thought $1 was so minuscule, but the new ones, I don't think you changed it, but, I mean,
Right, we only went up $1 for under 100 and over 100 is the same.
I don't understand. Again, it's a popular course. I don't think someone's not gonna have their outing there because we went up, you know, $2 or whatever, $3, whatever amount you think, but
I think when we did that, we were really concerned on the buffer and how much we're profiting. To me, my ears are open for rates, right? I don't have enough experience to really tell you what our rates at Timberland should be. So I'm really relying on everyone in the commission and Mark
Yeah, Mark thought it could go up, but again, I'm not, I don't have cement, shoes on this one. I mean, whatever the
Whatever
group.
you wanna do, if you wanna raise it, then raise it. If Mark thinks he can go up and get away with it, then.
Right.
And you,
Yeah.
that gives you a little bit more of your buffer, you're taking away from the
Season
the
pass.
season pass holders of the range
You
balls,
can add, you
right?
can add another buck or
And a
whatever
buck
to
or
it.
whatever.
Right.
Even on the other one, you can go up.
So right now, under 100's at 60.
But how's that compared to other courses, you know, I mean, I know you don't know this year's race, but last year's race, cause they're not going down, you're right, you know they're not going down, so.
Just let me get my rate chart here and see if I have something on.
Well, I think everybody's gonna go up this year.
Well, that's what I'm saying,
So
but how does that compare?
Yeah. Cause eggs are what,
You don't even freaking eggs.
$14.
No. What are you talking about, how many eggs do you eat a day? Was that all you did on those teeth?
Well, no, hey, Jim, he's probably
He
switched,
almost smiled on that one.
he switched to soft boiled eggs instead of chicken
Chicken cup,
wings.
man, I love salt.
Oh, yeah.
The only one I was able to find on their website was Stanley.
Yeah,
So Stanley at the under is 59 and the over 100 is 66.
and what are we?
We are proposing
60 and
55.
Huh, there you
Well,
go.
there you go,
Right.
so, even if you go up to 60 to 61, right, that's what we're proposing, what, 60, I'm sorry.
this is
We were,
what, 60, 59 and what?
What for Stanley?
Yeah,
Stanley was $59 if you have
Under.
less,
Yeah, and
66 if
If
you
you
have
have-
over.
Oh,
We were 55 and 60?
right.
what are we going to?
we went 60 and 55.
And what we going to now right now?
For
Actually, I may have
You
that
got it backwards.
I have it
You got-
backwards.
yes. 59 and 60.
And 66.
And
59 and
66.
66.
And what are we?
We're at 60 and 55.
And that's with the new rate, right? That's the new rate.
Yeah, that's our proposed rate.
So 62 and 56,
We could go.
right? Right.
I would say go.
That'll give you a little bit,
Yeah.
yeah.
I just want, I
Everybody
just
okay
want to
with
make
that?
sure, we.
You okay, you guys okay?
Yeah.
Stubby?
Yeah.
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 Yeah? Yes?
Yeah, she's not.
Yes? Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a bobblehead.
Who said it?
No skill. Oh. I can't hear anything.
Yeah, she said, she nodded, yes.
I think with that change and then the no season pass for the range, it balances out.
Right.
And
Yeah.
we're still at the
So you
same
good?
number.
Right.
Alright, fine.
Good.
That's done.
Okay,
Alright.
so we're good with race, right?
What else is that?
I'll email it again tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe everyone can just reply back saying it's good or whatever.
We can do that right now. If you're, is everybody good?
I'm good.
Raise your hands. Anybody?
Yeah, I'm good.
All
I
good.
wasn't here at the last meeting.
I'll email. Did you get it?
Discussion,
Doesn't matter, voted.
Peter?
Majority
Yes,
voted.
Seb.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't count.
Hold on.
Mr.
Seb, yes.
President.
Are we making a motion to accept the proposed rates?
We don't, we could, yeah, we
Okay.
can make it official if you'd
Second
like.
to motion. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
I got discussion. Well, I wanted to do it because I wanted discussion in between there. Sal, you did a great job on the proposal of rates. However, I think what needs to come out of this is that we need to set up an ordinance meeting with town council to discuss our ordinance that we have pertaining to rates. I think that's an item that needs to be done by this commission. Because we've tried over and over to get an ordinance meeting and we haven't had any success. I don't know why, but that needs to happen.
So you're saying the current ordinance is even, right?
Yes.
Yes,
So you're saying we should be able to give a budget that we're losing?
We should be able to give a budget, but we don't have to meet the expenses that you come up with.
So
Right.
that could either be up or down from it?
correct.
Yeah.
Right. We've had that for
Yeah.
Breaks.
You gotta- you
Years in
gotta
this
do your
town.
balanced budget.
If that's what the commission wants to do,
No, you
then
cannot.
that's what we will do,
You cannot
but
issue
you
a
have to
non-balanced
be
budget.
all on the same page, right? We can't have half the room
Saul?
put in there.
Can do it.
Hold
Can
on.
can I provide some background, Saul? We've been having a very informal discussion. We did have an ordinance meeting some years back. And one of the things actually that I don't remember, it was Mayor Mark or Roche proposed perhaps considering, was because we can't guarantee weather, and therefore we can't always meet the revenue projections if we have a bad season. And we can't keep going up in revenue, in our rates endlessly. At some point, you know, we have to stay competitive. And so how far we've been able to, and I think we've done a good job in recent years. But one of the things that, again, Mayor Mark or Roche mentioned is perhaps the ordinance could read about some kind of like a 3-year running average, so that if we did have a bad year, you know, that could be accounted for. The bottom line too is, if, again, God forbid this year we have a terrible rainstorm and we lose money, what are they going to do? You know, fire the commission? I mean, there's no kind of power behind that. What happens, it seems to me, is we get caught up in trying to perhaps at some point set rates that are not market competitive because our expenses go up every year. So that 3-year rolling average was just a verbal proposal that has never been pushed forward. And I agree with Sebi. I mean, it's nice when we're making money or, you know, covering our costs, but if we have a year who doesn't, you know, that can happen.
So how many municipal golf courses in the area have a town charter or a town ordinance that stipulates they're required to break even? I mean,
Some have enterprise funds.
So what do you
An
mean?
enterprise fund is all the money stays at the golf course. If you lose money, you pay the town back. And if you make money, you keep the money.
So it becomes like a profit center.
Correct.
Self-contained.
Self-contained.
Okay, now there's some talk about, from Arosha that wants to change our strategy in that we're not an enterprise fund per se. However, we are a special revenue fund where it kind of works the same way.
Instead of
where we
reserve.
keep the money. So we would reserve money for bad years and things like that. But I know Stanley doesn't have these.
They lose money,
these
and
requirements.
they consider part of the
The town.
But that's my whole point though, Jim, right? I mean, and I understand the dynamics of what's been going on over the past couple of years with Timberland. But to me, Timberland isn't something where you could say you gotta make money or you can't lose money. To me, Timberland is
An amenity.
like
Yeah.
the pool.
It is.
It's like,
That's right.
you know, it's like, I don't wanna say Sage Park, but I can't think of another example. It's like Sage Park. It's a benefit that the town provides to the community.
When we went to the ordinance meeting, I'm going to tell you that what happened, and what happened is that the people on the council, particularly a couple of them, absolutely and were adamant that not enough residents take advantage of Timberland, okay? To warrant it being an amenity, but many more people walk at Pistol Creek, for instance, than many more residents take advantage of Pistol Creek than they do Timberland, which is totally unquantifiable, totally not true. We have over 100 seniors 5 days a week, every Monday through Friday, 100 at a time, taking advantage of Timberland.
I wonder if they still feel the same way now though, especially after that meeting about Mark's contract. I think that was an eye opener.
So.
Can I just, let me interject something when we put this into bed.
That's happened.
You just gotta cover your costs, and we've been fighting this thing all along, it's like, oh my god, we have to raise our rates, and we're gonna get to the point where we're not competitive. Well, guess what? You're showing a profit,
Mhm.
right? And we didn't go overboard in raising our rates. I don't think we did, right? I mean, people may say we did in certain aspects of it, but for the most part, I think you did a great job. That's why I sent you the name, a good job, right? Even though I said autocorrect, I said job or something. But I go, if I have my glasses on, you don't know what you're gonna get. But at the end of the day, yeah, no, but at the end of the day, right, it's to cover the cost. We're still showing a profit. So if we really wanna be technical about this thing, we can lower rates even more. Well, it doesn't make sense.
No.
You know what? And I can't believe that's coming out of my mouth, to, lower the rates even more, but it just, you know what I mean, you don't wanna give it away, but at the same token, you don't, you don't wanna gouge it. And I think we've actually come to a happy medium, I think we all.
Yeah, we've done it.
Oh, there you go, right, I mean, it's like,
So we'll find someplace to spend the money.
well, if we make the money, then yeah, guess
We'll
what,
find
it's something that you need to do, right, I mean, we haven't even touched the bridges yet, right, you still have something, your checklist right there, so.
Yeah, no, Saul, I personally, I commend you and Mark for
Yeah.
doing
Great
a
job.
really great job on these.
This has been
Because
the
there was very-
easiest rate
there
thing
was-
through we've had
Right.
in 4
Very,
years,
very
5
little
years.
on our part.
Yeah, last year was a challenge.
Yeah.
No, you think?
No,
This
you
year
did
is
a
not a
great
jail.
job.
Okay,
Go ahead.
we good on,
Well-
we have a motion and we have a discussion.
Yes.
All in favor of the rates? As proposed? Aye.
Good.
Opposed? Hearing none, so moved. Good job, Saul.
What else you got, boss?
Good job, everyone.
Okay, Timberland December.
He's got his checklist there, what else you
No,
got?
that's all I got for rates.
Okay, P and L. Anybody?
No.
Y'all get them?
Yes.
Any discussion on that, or here's what it is, right?
In my calendar year, that's all.
Oh, you didn't get it?
No.
It's in there. It's in the email.
Is it calendar years in the email?
Best I could,
I
I
didn't
mean,
see
with the
it.
information I was given.
It's a wide spreadsheet.
I got the email from you, Peter, I didn't get the email from you.
I
I
don't
didn't get the
email
one from him either this morning, but that's why I resent it out to
He
everybody.
sends
But
it
I don't know what
to
happened.
I don't know how,
I have a question. I know we're on P and L. Is the budget year-to-date on the agenda? Or is that gonna
There's
be
a budget
under the director? Yeah, I see that, but where is that on the agenda? Are we talking about that now, or are we talking about under the
We
director?
could put that in open discussion, Gail, if you have something about the
Okay.
budget. Yeah.
Do we,
That's fine, thank you.
where's the
it's,
calendar?
the file is called monthly P and L.
Yeah,
Did we make money last year or no?
Oh,
It's always gonna show we made money, cause I don't think we used all our budget.
Budget.
Right.
And again, the information that's the information I was given.
That's,
So,
no, that's the monthly P and L. Fiscal year, not fiscal, calendar year.
you should see one from January to December 2022.
I saw it.
Not sure how, accurate
It's on the
June
side.
is.
It's on the side.
you know,
It's a wide spreadsheet.
Yes, okay. Okay, I'm sorry. Thank you.
no problem.
All right, so, well,
And obviously, I'm gonna continue that.
So
You know,
50,000
this
is what
year-
you're talking roughly, roughly 50?
If you take out like what we didn't use in our budget, probably around there, yeah.
Okay,
Give or take, I don't know how accurate my numbers are.
whatever, okay, fine, that's,
okay,
I'll start a new one starting this month.
yeah,
thank you.
thank you.
All right, Gail, open discussion. You had something about the budget?
Yeah, one thing.
Yeah, I had a question. I see, so we're this is through December 31st, 2022, so we're halfway through this fiscal year. So unless there's something unusual, the remaining percentage on most of these, it's my understanding, should be in the ballpark of, 40 to 60%. When I look down to see under golf course, which you had to get to page 22, part-time and summer help, it looks like the budget adopted was 84,000, and year-to-date, we've spent 22,000, which is only 25%, which that's great, because if that's true, we've saved some money there. I guess I'm just wondering if the vision is that the remaining 60K would be spent between now and June 30th, which our fiscal year ends. And you might not have that answer, Saul, because again, I appreciate you're new and this is all, new stuff, but that to me stood out. And it stood out related to my second comment is, last year we didn't spend all the budget that we had. So it was kind of unfortunate because I think there were things that we needed and wanted, but we're told, you know, the money wasn't there. And in the end, you know, it was there. So I would just say this is something that over the next few months, I think we have to look at very carefully to ensure that, you know, we're spending the budget that was allocated and we don't leave money on the table like we did last year. And then the final thing I have to say relates, I'm going back to our earlier discussion about the sand traps and the dump truck and even the bridge work. I went back and I can send you the minutes for the town council meeting of July 26, 2022, in which dollars were allocated for the dump truck and the Kubota, and there's also $50,000 allocated for bridge work. That was passed by the town council, and in those minutes you'll see the last step of that needed to be approval by the finance committee. So I understand what you said earlier, Saul, in that you want to give the works gentleman, you know, an opportunity to go to town council. But as you'll read in the minutes, it already did go to town council and it was to go to finance. And I just bring that to your awareness because I think sometimes, you know, governments can be bureaucratic and don't want to see you get caught up in bureaucracy when things, you know, have been documented and already decided upon. And it doesn't, you know, the step outlined on the July 26th meeting was finance committee. And now that was in July and we still don't have this equipment or even any inkling of when we're going to get it, it sounds like.
Somebody's BS and somebody's all.
Yeah, no, I
know-
knew that was a stall.
I know from my understanding, like Jerry tells me he should be good to go. So I have an email to Kevin Delaney to get the answer to that question. And I'm sure Kevin's just gonna say the same thing. Once I have a backbone to, you know, my conversation with Jim Simons, you know, we're gonna put pressure on him to get it.
Just run the bid.
We're gonna put pressure on him to get it. You know, and you know, I just need
You just might want to inquire. Yeah, and you might want to look at that part-time summer help line item.
You know, that one,
again.
You know, you're right there, Ms. Gale. I mean, that's a big balance that, you know, that hasn't been used up. I started a conversation with Jerry today on how he uses his blue collars and summer help. I'm asking him to use more of these part-timers, you know, rather than having so much overtime with blue collars. So, you know, that conversation is going to continue until we open day one. And he gives me, you know, a structure of his weekly schedule. So, you know, yes, that I saw that number 2, and that's why, you know, again, I'm asking him to use more of that rather than overtime, which he seems to use a lot.
Have you had a discussion of the policies and for the union rules, and you've got all that under control?
I have a packet, you know.
Have you read the contracts?
I've read some of it. It's big.
So you know what we're up against.
I know what we're up against. You know, the hours that they get from Monday to Friday, and then what kind of rates they get in the weekends, and you know, if we use one guy, we got to use another guy. You know, it's like a 1-to-1 ratio.
Right.
So in years past, he used to do 2 and 2, right? He used to use Billy, Greg, and then 2 other blue collars. You know,
Or seasonal, yeah.
or seasonal blue collars.
Yep.
Today I asked him, can you get through with one of Billy and Greg and one of the seasonal blue collars and then more part-timers, right? You know, his answer is he has to think about it, you know? So we'll give him, I just asked him today, right? We'll give him some time. But my thinking is some of the tasks that the union's doing, you know, like Billy and then the part-time, the 9-month blue collars, there should be tasks that the part-timers can do, like moving teas or getting garbage or,
Exactly.
you know, it can't just be like, you know, just them. Yeah, they need to cut the greens, they need to move the holes, cut the fairways. Yes, I don't expect the part-timers to do that. But there's gotta be more stuff that part-timers can do in the weekends, so we're not using overtime so much. So I hope that answers your question, Ms. Gale, because we started that conversation today, and I hope to get resolution on that by opening day, so.
This is where the fight
Good job, son.
This is where the fight starts, like I told you before.
Can I make a recommendation?
The unions are the
We'll
headache.
do it after.
That's it,
Talk about the budget.
I'm just being honest, the unions are
You already
headache.
know what's gonna come in months to come, and I'll just show you what a guy just did mine did to make it easier.
Okay, anybody else have stuff?
Is it all?
You said something about the rain?
I got.
No, it was about the balls and stuff like that.
Oh, got
That
it.
was it.
So, tee boxes, I mean, this has been one of my pet peeves forever, it's like there's gullies, right, I mean, I can go there and, you know,
Level
you know, so there's gotta be a way they make a leveler.
Mhm.
And it's a pole, and they make them 48 inches wide, 36 inches wide, and they have little gaps in them to level off your lawn. And I've already used these things. I mean, you know, it doesn't have to be like gonna shoot billiard balls on these things, but they do fill it and they level it off. If they're long enough, you do it the right way. You know, in England, I think they call it a lute. But they do have those things. So, and I brought this up plenty of times, and they're looking at me, oh, and you have to tear the whole box up. You don't. It's called like a lawn leveler, and I know it can't hurt. You know, or even just get proper topsoil in there to level some of these things off, so we don't have the gullies that we have. You know, because you can never find a level spot on half of the tees, right?
Then one year, cause I had mentioned it to Jerry, he did bring up a roller, and he was rolling some of the green, but
Not the greens, the tee boxes.
I mean, the tee boxes, I'm sorry. The tee boxes, he was rolling them with the roller.
Yeah.
But I didn't see him put anything down. I mean, sometimes you gotta
Well,
add
if you
into
use
it.
this, you know, I can send you the text, I actually bought it on Amazon, you know, and it's like, holy cow, and you see it doing it in the YouTube video, it's like, it's perfect every time, but it, you know, if it knocks off 90% of what you wanna do, then it's a game changer.
This actually is one of my bullet points for open discussion, so I was gonna ask everyone to suggest course improvements for 23.
The reason I'm bringing this up is because you did that last
Yeah,
time.
that's
Tee
one.
boxes.
The other box
Write
is,
that down.
you know, the soil mix, but you said you're gonna address that, you know, somebody doesn't have, I don't know, whatever when they come and do the roads, I think that's what they're using in
Milling.
Timberland. You know, the street sweeper.
Yeah.
I think that, I swear to God, I wouldn't be surprised at what's up there, the cigarette buzzers, everything in the box.
You mean like the mix we
The
put
mix,
into
yeah.
dividends?
So,
Yeah, okay, got it.
Sand mix, yeah, it's terrible.
It's-
Really,
It's
it's
mud,
disgusting.
it's mud.
The quality of it, but that also
But you're gonna
starts
address
with,
that, you're gonna address that coming forward with the bottles, right?
yes, I was just gonna say, that comes, the quality of it sometimes is how you store it. You know,
Okay.
if your
Right.
containers have cracks and holes, water gets in, yeah, it's gonna
Well,
get muddy, but
They have nippers in there too, you know that, right? The plastic nippers that people shove in there, and it's like,
the
the
drink.
yeah.
Well, that's people.
Well, I know it, but it's just, if they're, put it this way, when you go out, there's already a nipper in there, you know, it's either the kid's drinking on the job, or let's just call it what it is, they're not doing their job, but they should be filled.
That too, right?
You know, I mean,
uh,
it's a two-way street
the
here.
training of the staff and how they prepare a cart,
Yeah.
you know, or
Yeah.
even your starter,
It's
right?
your
Are they
education
sending
process.
carts out with
Right.
that, with no soil or divot mix in the bottles?
You know what, it's a even general beautification, flowers, I mean, the first thing you see coming down that road is the Timberland sign, right? It took until September, you know, to get that thing cleaned up. You know, I mean, that's the first people, and you know, we've talked about this before, maybe even put some flag, I mean, I don't know, just put the flags up, going all the way up the driveway. And what are they gonna say, take them down? Just put them up. We've had this discussion, just put, what are they
Yeah,
gonna
we
say?
wanted to put banners going up, welcome to Timberland with the town seal. We got a tremendous amount of pushback from the town.
Yeah, but they're all over
But
the
did the
town.
town say it, or who said
No,
it?
somebody said it. Doesn't matter.
Planning and zoning.
Yeah, but big deal, just do it.
For real? Well, I don't know why they would say that.
Because
Yeah.
everybody else is doing it in town.
Because it's against the ordinance to do banners or anything like that, but you drive in McGee, what does McGee have?
They have
They have the banners on there.
Right.
I mean,
It's a
so,
joke.
some of the good that they've done, truthfully, standardization of what they're trying to do with around the tee boxes. I mean, if we get away with the wall washers, get rid of them, whatever. But how they try to do that with the garbage can and water, and maybe even the sign, how they cut it out. I said, you know what, that looks great. It's smart because what you're doing, everything's the same, and you don't have to screw around with a weed whacker. You can get it in the mower. I mean, that's just thinking like that. And I think I was hoping that's what they were going to start doing, but that's a positive step. It really is.
I know, like, when the season starts, I'm requesting like a monthly grid from the superintendent on what they do weekly, what they do in a day. So,
Whoa.
I've been asking for that for years. I said, what do you do every day? And what are your metrics?
like I said earlier,
Hey,
whatever's happened before me, I can't
Listen,
control. I can only control what I can do now,
Right.
Excellent.
right?
No, you were spot on.
When I get
We
this
couldn't do
grid,
that.
I hope there's things outside the golf course, like the clubhouse, flower beds, whatever, driveway, whatever it is, because the whole facility is their responsibility, and it can't be the same things every week.
We've also asked for a long-term plan.
I'm just asking for a monthly plan.
Right.
Wait, we've asked for 1, 3, 5, 10,
Yeah.
and it's fluid, obviously, but
Maybe Jerry likes me.
Maybe.
Well, before you ask for this.
I'll send you one. I'll give you one of Johnson.
Speaking of Jerry, can we, or is it feasible to get a superintendent report every month as
Sure,
well?
sure.
So now we'll have the pro, the director of golf, the superintendent, so we'll have a really good idea of what's going on.
What's being done and what's
Sir,
not being
you
done.
got it.
Thank you.
So would the expectation be that he attend a meeting to report on?
I don't think he's got a.
Just paper, just give it in
yeah,
paper?
Yeah, and Saul's gonna know what's going on,
He's a-
so you can represent, if there's something major and you want the superintendent here, by all means, but
Sure.
I don't wanna pressure, I just wanna know what's going on, I think we all wanna,
Yep.
just have, just some update as to
I
what's
think
going
that's
on.
a
around
great
the
idea.
course.
Any other suggestions for golf course improvements?
You know what, there was, we were gonna do a ride around last year, that
Yeah.
never happened.
Who's we?
Commission.
Members of the commission with the superintendent, so perhaps maybe once the season starts, Nancy takes a ride with Saul one morning, Jim,
What'd you say?
too many Jims.
Yeah.
No problem. I just want to make sure.
Drive around, take a look
Yeah.
and say,
I just want to
Maybe we
make
can
sure
make
it's
this a little
productive
better.
right,
and
Right.
not criticism.
Yeah.
Okay.
no, productive, absolutely.
Yeah.
Great.
Rangers' requirement is they have to operate the Goosinator. Good luck teaching Lindsay, that's on you.
Oh, God.
What do you do fine with that?
Lindsay?
You think?
I love
I
Lindsay.
can't wait till you give him an iPad and start checking on
Let's not go there yet.
it. Sorry.
You know what, he's very personal.
He is
He's a nice guy.
I
He's really nice.
really think that people are gonna respect him and
Yep.
listen to him, I dig that idea, I do.
I do.
Let's give him something to do.
Exactly.
Okay. Account balances, T-sign account is at 9439. One more open discussion, we're on track to go to council for the clock, yes,
I'm gonna hand it in to the agenda by the end of the month,
beautiful,
so we
thank
can
you.
get in the 7th, right, Ms. Gill? You can make the 7th?
Gail.
She nodded.
Yeah, she
nodded,
she can do the 7th. And if everyone else can,
Yeah,
Yeah,
that would be great.
for their support.
Send out an email reminder.
7th of what?
Feb 7th.
February
That's the town
7th.
council meeting. We're gonna present it, they're gonna take till the next meeting to approve it, so.
I'll be out of town that week.
Where are you going?
Wait, you got another meeting?
No, he's got a park and rec.
He's
meeting.
gonna-
That takes precedence.
I have a question. When you say you're gonna present it and then they have to make a decision on the next meeting, why can't we have it
No,
on the agenda?
I'm assuming, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that they're gonna make a decision in the next meeting. It's just, that's the way they've been working these last 2 meetings, so they may tell us that day, they'll probably tell us that night.
If it's on the agenda ahead of time, they'll have
You're
their
right.
decision by that night.
Cause we have a pre-agenda meeting, whoever's on the agenda, we have a pre-agenda meeting, so I'm
Right.
sure they'll let us know that night. I'm sorry to say that, Ms. Gill.
I think they'll vote that night.
Yeah.
They should, if it's on the agenda.
Yes, yeah.
Got it off, we have a factory down there. Oh, okay.
All right, you got,
Gotta go down once in a while, just.
so 58 grand left
For CIP.
for CIP, no encumbrances, but there's a lot of tree work going on right now, right?
Yeah, I mean, basically the three,
Oh,
there's like 3 main projects for CIP, right? There's tree work, bridge work, pond work. And then after that, you know, I'm still giving y'all what, 2 grand, 3 grand for the clock. And I'm hoping after all that to have some, maybe 5 grand, you know, for the rest of the season if we need anything.
You need play money, you need seed money.
Well, we
Oh, yeah.
need we can't just use it all,
No,
right?
no.
Jerry wants like 15 grand. I'll meet him in the middle probably, but you know, it's more or less, you know, we have to save some for emergency sakes.
Yeah, yeah.
So
But right, as of now, we have 58 grand. in-
yeah, you know, the next week, Earth Contractors is gonna give me their bridge work price. They're gonna give me concrete work for the range price.
Good.
See if I can fit that in. And then the trees, you know, we're trying to do, you know, Jerry and the gang are also doing some of that work themselves. But there's only 3 of them, so you have to understand that we have to outsource some of it.
Distinctive Trees does a great job, and they're,
Right.
and they're in and out.
And
So,
their price is
I
good.
think they're also coming next week. I know I talked about the sand traps earlier, but that's more just for future information.
Sure.
So, but your CIP, those are the 3 or 4 things we're gonna
Well,
use.
no, that's a pretty good amount to have in there right now.
Mhm.
Sean, down going on 10, that walking path, does that have anything to do with the golf course? Where they're cutting them trees and stuff, is that anything with the water coming across? The drainage or anything?
On the side of the pavement?
Yeah, and where they're
On
cutting,
10,
on
oh,
10,
on 10,
on 10,
that's more for the walkers.
okay.
When they're cutting trees down there, that's for not for us, that's for the walkers.
And it's, who's cutting them? The town?
Highway.
Highway, okay.
I was saying, okay.
Yeah, but they only can, the highway can only cut a certain diameter trees for the most
Right.
part. There's big trees that they just
Right.
can't touch.
But it's not on our dime,
No,
obviously.
right,
right.
it's
I'm
not.
sorry.
No, I was just wondering if there was something, about a pipe or something was running from the golf
Oh,
course.
down, I don't know, but
Okay, that's what I was just
I
wondering.
just know they're cutting dead trees, you know, dangerous limbs that might fall
One
on
of them fell
walkers.
during around last night.
You know, and the reason why highway can't help us is the way they cut. You know, they would damage our grounds a lot,
Go with the trucks.
Yeah.
and also they just let it fall.
Oh,
So you know that's gonna.
And then this thing just picks it up, puts it in the chip.
So
We can use that, we can use some of that stuff though.
here you go again.
The wood chip?
Cementing,
The wood chip, we can use some of that wood chip stuff.
oh, the wood chips.
Yeah, we can use that, they could,
Jimmy Kraft, Richard
Yeah.
brother.
no, you can use that, you can use that, that's good stuff.
Last year, was
The
the
mulch
first time we got real mulch in years,
That was
don't even talk
The
about
mulch
it.
is beautiful. The brown mulch, it's a huge difference.
Oh my God,
It's a
yes.
game changer, it really is.
And I give
That's part
kudos,
of, really, that's part of Jerry, that's part of
kudos to
education.
Jerry on
That's
that.
right. The wood chips, you know, listen, it's,
John used to use the cut up trees and it was dirt and it was awful.
well, mulch looks beautiful. It
Mulch
does.
looks
And-
really good.
And it gives it the finished look, it does give it a finished look, it really does.
I thought they did a nice job around the clubhouse last year. Okay, director's report.
Just trying to fill positions. You know, we put it on the town website, LinkedIn, Indeed. I had 4 interviews today for various positions. I'll have some next week for primary positions like golf shop staff / assistant pro. So I'm really just hoping to fill all those positions by mid-Feb and get everyone on the same page, have a staff meeting and get everyone ready for day 1. I'm still kind of scared about it because, you know, it's hard to find good help. But, you know, I'm happy to have Lindsey Hansen on the staff so he could bounce off his experience to me and obviously help the current staff as well. But, you know, Arosh and I finalized the Fora proposal, the point of sale proposal today. We're gonna sign it by the end of the week, if not very early next week. So we could start the process of getting that into here at the club and getting our training as managers like me and Mark, so we could train all our staff. And really that's about it on my end, you know, not much going on other than what we do in this room, so.
Good, thank you. Mark's not here, everyone has read his golf pro report? Okay. So a question, assistant pros, is Mark gonna have his own?
When I speak as staff hiring, this is my staff.
No, I get it.
Right.
So now,
Mark-
I'm talking like, for instance, we have Gino and Brandon.
Yeah,
They're gonna work for Mark.
my pros will not teach. My pros will be, I call them entry level, right? So they're here to learn.
What,
and build.
I guess my question is, they're separate, so in other words, Gino and Brandon are probably gonna work for
They're
Mark.
gonna be working
Yeah,
for
they're
Mark.
working for Mark.
Okay, so, boy, that's, wow, that's awesome,
Right, we're gonna be big time.
that's
It's
awesome.
not about big time or not, it's
No, it's.
so I can rely on people.
Sure,
You know, no offense to whoever has worked there in the past, but I need a little more experience than what those folks have had, right? And I still welcome them back, but I'm not saying they can't come back.
Right.
I just need one or two that can man the ship,
Right,
especially when I'm not there,
Right.
right? And I'm sorry, but I won't be there much, you know, on some days,
Right.
you know, because I need a little balance
Right.
with work and life. But when I'm not there, I need to be comfortable, and I don't want to rely on high
that's
school
your-
kids handling cash.
Right.
No,
That's all.
'Cause that's-
Especially since we're taking over the register.
It's a good
Yeah.
perspective.
Right.
So I say assistant pros, but they're going to be entry level, and they're going to be aspiring pros,
right,
right? And
and
I'm
go
there
through the
to,
program.
yeah, I'm there to provide help, experience, get them going. And if they leave after a year, that's because they had a great experience and they're ready to move on, right? And
Yeah.
that's how I was treated in this business.
Yeah.
That's how I'm gonna treat everyone else. So.
nice.
Commendable.
Are they doing the renovations in the pro shop yet?
Both office, my office, which is Mark's old office, is done. Mark's new office, which is the lounge area, is done. Right?
Yeah.
Mr. Green, he moved in. We just picked flooring options last week, so those are getting ordered. So they're gonna do flooring. They're gonna give Mark some new slot walls. Mark's counter is gonna move in the long way, and they're gonna make me a new counter in front of where my office door is. So
Great.
I hope to get it all done by mid-Feb. You know, I'm not going up there until it's done. So if you guys need me, I'm still in the maintenance shed. So.
Okay, good.
All right, anything else?
No.
Very,
No.
very,
I just have a question.
Oh,
I have a question.
it's slow scale.
So, yeah, I was just, so, Saul, all these positions are gonna be full-time positions or part-time?
Well, are you asking about the golf shop?
Yes,
It depends on the person. You know, if so, these entry level pros will be full time, right? So I'm counting 30 to 40 hours. I should be hiring enough cart staff to where some are full, some are part. You know, it really depends on everyone's availability. You know.
Do we have to provide benefits for full-time? Do we have to?
Well,
You're on a FICA no matter what, you're on state unemployment no matter what, right?
Yeah.
There's certain things, you're right, you have, that's by law, right? So it doesn't matter at that point in time.
Right,
Those
right.
those are your biggest fringes right there, right?
Mhm.
Unless you have to provide an insurance form or something to that effect, those are your three big nuts, other than that.
I'll have to, I guess, follow up on like the fringe benefits of each employee or the classification for for those employees.
Yeah, 'cause that's a
But
big,
when you talk about the full-time, wouldn't that be like 40 hours a work week or?
30 to 40.
Right, so if you're under that 30 to 40, then probably you wouldn't have to
Considered
think about the benefits.
Yeah, I mean, if I get one full-time in the golf shop and the rest are part-time, I think we can make that work, you know,
Well, the reason I'm asking is I'm on the website and I think it doesn't invite part-time. It's because all of them are posted at 30 to 40 hours. So that's my question. So if somebody is interested in 24 hours a week, they may not even apply. And I don't, that's my question. So you might
I
want to
see.
think about that.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Gale.
Thank you, Gail.
Sure.
Anything else?
No.
Hearing none,
Motion to adjourn?
seconded?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, great meeting, everyone.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thanks, so.
Everybody have a nice evening.
Yeah,
Good job, bud.
we got a lot done.
Good job.
That's all that was.
Really?
Yeah.